It was good. I'm gonna keep my cam off for now. Mm, I'm gonna wait for David. I'm gonna wait for you to wake up for me to turn my cam back on. Oh, David, you're here. All right. I don't gotta. I was gonna play the game until you woke up. All right. Uh, let's watch some videos then. I got some videos to watch today. Hold on. I'm sweaty right now. All right. That's why I don't want to turn on my cam because I don't have a shirt on. Give me a second. I'll be right back. Give me like a minute. Turn my cam on. Got some pretty good videos to watch today. We got some pretty damn good videos today. I'm actually I'm actually excited to show you this. I'm actually excited to show you what we got today. All right. So, first things first. I'm already sick. I hope Italy doesn't finish me. Oh, is today the game? Wait, what? Oh yeah, you did tell me what happened to Norway. What time is it? Is that 11 my time or 9 a.m. my time? 11:45. It's unfortunate that I have to take my grandfather to the store tomorrow at noon. Otherwise, I'd be down to watch it on stream. Unfortunate that I'm gonna be busy. Um, I mean, I'm pretty sure Italy's gonna win though. It's more likely. Odds are stacked against Israel for sure. Uh, Italy's gonna win. But I mean, I did see Trump got that peace treaty going. It's already in phase one or whatever. Um, right. First video I'm gonna show you. So people love to say Charlie Moist Critical is down the middle. He doesn't pick sides. He's just center. The reason why I stopped watching Charlie is because I know for a fact he's left leaning. And I think I've streamed some of the stupid shit he said that is left leaning. Like when he got in an argument with Sneeko and he said that kids should be allowed to take hormones and chop their shit off. So I never listen. I don't care if the majority says that Charlie is down the middle. Charlie, I will never believe it. Charlie is always going to be left leaning to me. I don't care who says he's in the center. I'm not stupid enough to believe that. I know Charlie. I watched him for fucking 7 years or some shit. Charlie is not down the middle. I haven't watched his videos in like a year and a half to 2 years now, and I'm happy. All the leftists are so mad about the deal. I know. I've been seeing the shitstorm in comment sections. I've been seeing the shitstorm. They said there's so many people crying about Trump does not deserve the Nobel Peace Prize. It's crazy because he probably won't get it because of how many people are saying he doesn't deserve the Nobel Peace Prize. It's crazy that the other half of the country is speaking up right now saying that he doesn't deserve a Nobel Peace Prize. Anyways, back to the topic of the video. Charlie made a video to criticize the right, shockingly. I know. And in the comments, I haven't watched the video, but I clicked on it because of the title. And I looked at the comment section, filled with liberals and left. So let's watch the video. Because he's supposedly down the middle. He has no take on politics. He never talks about politics. This is what everybody said. Let's see how critical he is of Trump. The video is titled "Brainwashing Situation is Crazy." I clicked on it because it sounded like it was going to be political. I watched the first minute, I skipped through it, and then I closed it because of how fucking annoyed I was. All right, let's watch this. He has some criticism towards the Trump administration. Let's go. They already assigned Nobel Peace Prize to Venezuelan women for Nobel positions. Let's go.
I remember growing up thinking that brainwashing and mind control was just something you see in comic books and cartoons. But now I know it's a very real thing that you can see happening daily in this country. Now, the big thing I want to talk about, I'm going to talk about a lot here. There's going to be a bunch of blabber in here and drool coming out of my mouth as I'm spitting because I'm about to be getting pretty passionate. The big focus is on the huge crypto collapse from yesterday. And the very suspicious, very lucky trader who was able to cash out $190 million off of it because they were shorting Bitcoin and Ethereum a day before and all the way up until a minute before Trump's Truth Social post announcing the massive tariffs on China, which crashed the entire market. And then 30 minutes later, they cash out $190 million. It seems like they might have known something, but that can't be, right? That would be corruption. And this administration doesn't engage in that kind of nefarious activity. Except for all the previous times that this exact same thing has happened with Trump announcing things on Truth Social that people close to him that suckle his fucking teats must have had insider knowledge on, because they're able to cash out millions upon millions of dollars because of his rinse and repeat cycle of threatening tariffs, backing off tariffs, postponing tariffs, just fluctuating the market up and down. Yet people in his inner circle must be privy to this knowledge because they are making absolute...
This sounds awfully familiar, but not on the Trump side. But, I mean, who knows? Maybe it's a coincidence. Maybe it's not. You be saying some truth shit right now. Let's continue.
bullseye trades based on that before it becomes public. So this isn't really anything new, it's just the most egregious instance because you can literally see it. This account opens and starts shorting Bitcoin and Ethereum a day before this announcement, and then a minute before the Truth Social post goes live. Like, it's unbelievable. And if you're a MAGA cultist, it actually is unbelievable. They refuse to believe it.
Oh God, he thinks MAGA is a cult. Wow. All right.
Before the Truth Social post goes live, like, it's unbelievable. And if you're a MAGA cultist, it actually is unbelievable. They refuse to believe it. They refuse to accept the very real reality that they are getting fucking hosed. Trump and Trump's family's net worth has exploded since becoming president. How do you defend that? Well, I'll tell you how. Because they say Trump is such a benevolent saint, he actually doesn't even keep his salary from being president. Wow, that's how much he cares about the American people. You fucking delusional homunculus. The presidential salary is actual peanuts.
By the way, this is only one topic of the entire video. He's gonna cover, I think, I don't know, because I skipped through it. I skipped through the middle, and it was a whole different other criticism on the right, on Trump's administration. So this is just one topic. I think there's several, if not two. But let's continue. Did he ever? No, that never came out of his mouth. Nancy Pelosi has never been in this man's mouth. Pause.
It's literal fucking used condoms in the grand scheme of how much money him and his family are making throughout his presidency. When he was being fucking sworn in, he was still launching up to 168 new products. And that doesn't even include things like his cologne that he launched, you know, the fucking Trump Gooch Galore smell, the Trump watches, the Trump phone and shit like that. So that has only increased the amount of things that he is hawking to the American people to buy solely to enrich himself and his family, his fucking meme coin and all of that. His family is going ballistic in terms of how much money they are making off of his presidency. They're not even hiding it. They are just constantly making money off of you. As you suffer and get less and less money, they get more and more. They are taking the pizza and not even leaving you bits and pieces, morsels of the crust. It's sad, and yet people love it. They will accept it with a fucking smile on their face and say, please, give me some more. I've got more holes for you to fill. Please, come in here. I'm waiting. It's just absurd. They don't even stick to a single belief anymore. Like the Epstein files, I know I have made a lot.
I didn't know he made videos on the Epstein files. As to his statement here, I know he's definitely behind covering the Epstein files. He gave the project to someone else. I'm sure that's just a theory, but it's no coincidence that he's really close to the influencer that made the majority think that Trump is hiding the Epstein files. Just to recap, I'm speaking of this man that's really like a close friend of Charles here. What's his name? Coffee. This is the man that made everyone wonder why Trump never released the Epstein files. A very close friend of Charles. So I didn't even have to assume that he talked about it himself when he has already a friend working on it. Heavily funded, I'm sure. Anyways.
They don't even stick to a single belief anymore. Like the Epstein files, I know I have made a lot of content on in the past, so I'm not going to regurgitate that. But the Epstein files are a really good example of how they really cared about the Epstein files and they were really upset at the failure of Joe Biden to release them in that administration. So they were hyping up Trump about all of his promises to release those Epstein files, which he has still not done and still actively just like discounts, and the entire administration denying the existence of now. And this same group of people that was so excited for Trump to follow through on that promise is now like, oh, he didn't break any promises. In fact, it's just not even important. That's why he's not doing it. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, who cares about the Epstein files? We have so many bigger things to worry about. Like, what the next...
That's true. But let's hear the joke that follows up with that. Let's see.
Like, who cares about the Epstein files? We have so many bigger things to worry about. Like, what the next product we're going to have to buy from Trump is. Like, they're just now saying, it doesn't matter. We don't care. We actually don't want this information. Actually, I believe everything they're saying now. Yeah, it definitely doesn't exist. Yeah, actually, Maxwell...
Is that considered brainwashing? If the possibility that Trump is on that list, but we just don't want it to come out because, one, it's not even for sure that he's going to be on it, even though it's implied that at this point that he might be. But two, because who does he want to run the country? Fucking, like, who does he want to run the country at this point? Oh, but he stays out of politics, right? Anyways.
This information. Actually, I believe everything they're saying now. Yeah, it definitely doesn't exist. Yeah, actually, Maxwell's probably innocent too. But again, I've already talked about that a lot. Let's talk about some other stuff. The COVID vaccine. Trump just got a COVID booster. Not a conspiracy. Just out in the open, signed, documented, stamped. It is legitimate. Trump just got a COVID booster. And this administration has constantly played into the MAGA fear of the jab. That was one of the big things with MAGA, is like how this is, you know, contaminating us, poisoning us. They're trying to kill us with the jab. And now Trump just got the vaccine booster, and those same people like Gunther Dickelman are now applauding him for it, sucking a fucking fart out of his butt for it, giving him a full rim job like, yes, the president's healthy, this is great news. Meanwhile, only a few months ago, a big talking point from him and so many others is the COVID vaccine and the evil of it. But now that Trump got the vaccine booster, well, now they love it. Well, now it's great. Actually, Trump probably got the vaccine booster because he's going to immediately give all of us herd immunity. He is using himself as a selfless sacrifice with the jab, so that way his aura of being immune to COVID will help infiltrate all of us via osmosis. So now we're all immune to COVID thanks to Trump getting the COVID vaccine booster. Or some crazy shit maybe. That one I'm just spitballing, but I'm trying to find ways they'll mental gymnastics around it. But the sad reality is they're not even going to bother trying. They're just going to be like Gunther here and just be like the good little NPC drone that's like, anything Trump does is great. Can't wait to swallow more Trump meat. Even though it goes completely against all of the things he was talking about. Like, so many people that were talking about the jab and how evil it is and all of that are now celebrating that Trump got it. That's just, it's just so obvious. It's so blatant. Like fucking cat turd. I don't think I've seen anything from him on Trump getting the jab here. Just radio silence, just crickets. It's just ignore things that make you have to think. That is the cult mentality of MAGA. Anything Trump does is perfect. Anything that makes me think that maybe there's something else there, I shut out. I plug my ears to. It is fucking horrifying. Trump is now building a Qatari Air Force base in Idaho.
This was the second topic that I heard. Well, I mean, it's been like 4, but I skipped through the video, and this is the one that I heard when I was skipping through it right here.
Trump is now building a Qatari Air Force base in Idaho. Trump has accepted a huge $400 million Wumbo Turbo Superstar jet from Qatar. It's a crazy gift. That's one hell of a donation there. I don't want to toss the B word around too lightly here, the bribe nomenclature, but I mean, definitely smells a little fishy over here with that, especially in regards to what came soon after. He then signed a $5.5 billion deal with Qatar for a Trump golf course. Yippee, that's great for the American people. More Trump wealth that he accumulates here through this deal. And now he is putting a Qatar Air Force base on our homeland soil. America first, right? Yeah, it's really America first thinking right there. Yeah, and then I've already seen the cope about how actually no, this is a joint training procedure. This is something that we do all the time, actually. And I saw JD My Chemical Romance Vance talking today about like how
JD Vance jokes aren't funny. He's just a basic white dude. any kind of reference is just not funny.
It's actually just all fake news and stuff. Even though they have literally verbatim, point blank said exactly what this deal is, and he is just denying that. So not even the administration is in agreement on their talking points right now. It's a fucking mess. And still, people are so brainwashed and mind controlled that they'll just accept it and be like, this is great. This is America first, actually, to put this Qatar Air Force Base in Idaho. That's actually exactly what I wanted. And then Trump always finds a way to surprise me with some crazy schizo posting late at night. So his most recent one is the Biden FBI placed 274 agents into the crowd on January 6th. If this is so, which it is, a lot of very good people will be owed big apologies. What a scam! Do something! President DJT. There is so much wrong with that. I think he forgot to take his suppositories because holy shit, Trump was president on January 6th. Biden did not control the FBI. But you know what? Let's play ball here and dive into a fucking fever dream, a fantasy. Let's say Joseph Biden set down his ice cream, cracked his knuckles, and assumed direct control of the FBI on January 6th and placed all of these agents in here just as Trump says. Well, why don't you do something about it? You are the president. Who are you asking to do something? God? Batman? Like, who are you trying to call? Who are you trying to summon to do something? You are the president. So if this is real, why aren't you doing anything? This is a classic President DJT maneuver here, the entire administration really, where they're like, all of these crimes from the Democrats, all of these absolutely abhorrent, vile crimes.
I don't want to keep pausing it because I'm just gonna let the video keep rolling. I don't have much to say about his criticism. It's just weird to me that he's trying to make him like my train of thought just completely left because I just want to finish this video. He's trying to say that Trump is out of touch by using his initials DJT in a tweet. Maybe a little bit of arrogance or a little too egotistical. I don't know. But this man has made some of the worst fucking music I have ever listened to in my fucking life. Like, my ears bled by how fucking corny that shit was. All right, let's continue. That's all I had to say.
Crimes where they're like, all of these crimes from the Democrats, all of these absolutely abhorrent, vile crimes that the Democrats have done. No more playing nice, no more Mr. Nice Guy. We're showing our teeth, we're baring our fangs, and we're gonna get something done about it. And then nothing. It's all just posturing. It's all performative. It is a game, and they are playing you. They are preying upon your gullibility and your inclination to be afraid, to constantly keep you in fear, because when you are afraid and when you are convinced that the other side is doing all of these things to get you, you are so fucking easy to control. You're so malleable. That's why they're playing that shit in the airports now about how like the Democrats are Satan and all of that. If you have all of this overwhelming evidence that you claim to have about all of these crimes and all of this shit that the Democrats have done, why have you done nothing? You would be just as guilty in that case. What is the quote? The only thing it takes for evil to succeed is for good men to do nothing? Well, if you know that all of this evil is happening from the Democrats and you're doing nothing, you're just as guilty. Like, this is so clearly obvious to anyone that's thinking for more than 5 fucking seconds. And you don't even need to be thinking for 5 seconds to see this new Truth Social stinker here that he squeaked out as anything other than just a sham. Like, this should just be alarming into the mental decline of Trump. He was president on January 6th. He controlled the FBI. Not Biden. Biden was probably out riding his bike to a fucking twisty treat. I don't think he was down there as the puppet master pulling the strings, putting FBI agents in January 6th. It is so crazy, and yet people will just swallow it. They will swallow any shit that Trump feeds them happily, even when they know it's something bad. Like Ted Cruz saying that he got into Congress 13 years ago solely to represent the interests of Israel. He is an American politician who openly states that he is here for Israel. That, again, like I said, feels treasonous to me. And I imagine most people in a different time period would feel the same, but because of how tribalistic politics has become, if you're a big MAGA enthusiast, Trump supporter, you have to somehow just hand wave that and support it because that's what you're told you need to do. Even though anyone should be able to hear that and be concerned. Why does Israel have such a huge stranglehold on the American political landscape and such a massive say-so in how American companies do their business? And why do they even have like the ability to start making demands about what needs to be censored in regards to their atrocities on American platforms? It would be alarming to everyone if the political sphere wasn't just, I have to support everything from this side no matter what. It is fucking scary. Now, I do want to make a mention of something. It's not all horrible, awful news. There's actually a ceasefire going on right now. And I can only pray that it sticks. With Netanyahu, you never really fucking know. But I can only keep my fingers crossed and pray for the absolute best for the Palestinians and hope that going forward, the people of Gaza will no longer need to fear.
Right, he came out, he said he's pro-Palestine, obviously, because fucking the majority of the people are pro-Palestine at this point. Am I surprised? No. Do I think he's weak for fucking coming out and saying free Palestine? A little bit. A little bit.
Be in hope that going forward, the people of Gaza will no longer need to fear being massacred by Netanyahu's IDF. Now, I know I said at the beginning of the video, the focus of this was going to be on the crypto collapse and the super lucky guy that happened to make $190 million going against all rational thinking and against all the odds. Truly a miracle. But I couldn't help myself. This is just so preposterous. But now, let's finally dive into the crypto collapse. CoffeeZilla made a video going over this. It's extremely well put together, so I'm going to be showing you some clips of that as we talk about it.
I don't even know what this is. I think...
What did I say? What did I say? What did I say? What the fuck did I just say?
Now, but I couldn't help myself. This is just so preposterous. But now, let's finally dive into the crypto collapse. CoffeeZilla made a video going over this. It's extremely well put together, so I'm going to be showing you some clips of that as we talk about it.
Oh, extremely.
I don't even know what this
okay,
is.
okay.
I think this is all legal, kind of. I don't think it should be, as you'll see.
Thing is, even if it wasn't legal, it wouldn't matter. There will be no justice pursued regardless, because I think it's pretty clear that whoever this is,
It's legal,
they
though.
are part of Trump's
It's legal.
circle.
Everything about what you just said, it's legal. It doesn't fucking matter.
Cronies. I think it's pretty clear that whoever this is, they are part of Trump's inner circle of cronies, and they had this knowledge beforehand, what was coming. And it doesn't take a genius to recognize that imposing these huge tariffs on China was going to have a huge effect on the market. So it was a pretty easy opportunity for them to short with that knowledge in mind and make an unbelievable amount of money. Again, if it is legal, it shouldn't be, like CoffeeZilla says, but even if it isn't legal, it won't matter, because they're not going to do anything about it.
But the question is, what did this
They're
guy
not the first-
know?
whatever.
Okay, how did somebody make $190 million while everyone else was losing their shirts yesterday? If you don't know, there was one of the biggest crashes we've ever seen in crypto. And someone came in 24 hours before and started placing shorts against the market. Short is just when you bet that the underlying asset is going to go down in price and you will make money on that. Now, this all started October 9th. At 16:39 GMT time, they start accumulating this Bitcoin short.
So T-minus 24 hours until the rest of the world knows this information about the impending tariffs. They come in with $80 million that they start shorting Bitcoin with. That is not like a gamble or anything. That feels like they knew for sure something was going to happen. That is a crazy amount to come out of nowhere with to short Bitcoin.
Now, the amount is unusual, but that itself is not the unusual part. Then we have Ethereum starts to get shorted at 3:49 GMT. Interesting. $30 million gets deposited into this account. Immediately start placing major bets that the market is going to go down. Why is this significant? Well, because at 14:57, this is only a few hours later, like 12 hours later, Trump posts on Truth Social that they are calculating a massive increase on Chinese tariffs.
Zoinks. That's really lucky. This account comes out of nowhere, swinging huge numbers, slinging big time fucking doubloons here on these shorts. And then shortly after, well, it looks like something might be happening to the market here with these potential tariffs that they're calculating.
Where I think this goes from suspicious to downright diabolical is the fact that at this point, the market dips a little bit because you have these threats of tariffs. But the person does not start closing out their shorts yet.
No, that's not weird. This trader's just got diamond hands. What? He's not going to close out his position based off of just that one tweet there. No, that wouldn't make any sense. He's just got strong paws to really grip onto his positions here.
Which I think is very interesting. If you place this huge short.
Did he defend Destiny? That sounds oddly familiar. That sounds oddly familiar. The thing is, people are on his nuts right now. This video probably got as many views as it did because he came out against Hassan for the whole dog abuse thing. But I do think you're right. I think there was a point in history, like not too long ago, where he did defend Destiny.
Short bet
onto his positions here.
Which I think is very interesting. If you place this huge short bet and then the president tweets something like this, you would think you would close out your order. But not only do they not do that, not only do they not close out their short, they continue to place short bets against Bitcoin. In fact, this person continues to short Bitcoin all the way up till 2049-23 GMT. Why is that significant, ladies and gentlemen? It's because 2049 is the last short he places, okay? 2050 GMT. A minute later, 1 minute later, Trump announces they're considering an 100% tariff on China, which of course tanks the market. And this person makes literally $190 billion in 24 hours.
Then over the course of the next half hour, they close out all of their shorts and they cash out big time. Jackpot. Wow, did they get lucky or what, huh? Man, I cannot believe the coinky-dink there. Shorting all the way up until 1 minute before Trump's tweet. Geez, some guys have all the luck. You would actually need to be the biggest fucking stupidest troglodyte on the planet to think that this was just like a lucky, you know, miracle trade here from this individual. This is clearly someone that had information about what was coming. The speculation is that it's Barron Trump. There's a lot of people that are providing their loose evidence that it's Barron. Nothing's confirmed on who this is, and I don't think there will ever be confirmation on who this was. But it doesn't take a galaxy brain 5-digit IQ genius to see this and recognize that the only way that something like this happens is if that person had prior knowledge of what was coming. There is no other explanation for it. So while everyone else lost tons of money, some people lost everything. This crash was so colossal that some people took their own lives because of it. The only way that someone
what?
Totally
what? What's the statistic on that? Who the fuck killed themselves because their fucking Bitcoin crashed? Like, they gotta be rich. Who the fuck killed themselves? What? Is there anyone that fucking killed themselves?
There is no other explanation for it. So while everyone else lost tons of money, some people lost everything. This crash was so colossal that some people took their own lives because of it. The only way that someone went totally against the grain all the way up until 1 minute before the fucking, you know, bomb dropped from Trump here is if they knew it was coming. Like, it's just, I think it is so clear. And the only way you could possibly think anything else is if you're already brainwashed and mind controlled and stuck in a cult mentality. I really don't know what it will take to snap people out of this. The people that are just so far gone and willing to deny all the evidence of their eyes and ears, that they're constantly being told that they need to. Following these orders of just deny everything that you see and hear from this administration and everything going on. I don't know how you bring them back into, like, being able to think. Like, actually be able to think. It's fucking terrifying. It's actually extremely scary. So, yeah, I wanted to yap about this morning. That's really about it. So, yeah.
I have no take on that. I'm just, I'm not even disappointed. I kind of expected from this. All I gotta say, really, in rebuttal, this guy must fucking idolize Rachel Maddow. Like, that's probably someone that he looks up to and thinks that's a great fucking journalist. Fucking loser. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that last part. But let me read what you got to say, David. Uh, JD Vance. Wait. I don't care if politicians make money for themselves if they improve the country, like the politicians in Italy from the 50s to 80s were all corrupt, but they made it. That's a fair point. That's a very fair point. I was gonna say, never mind. I don't even want to give my take on that shit. I don't care. I'm not fucking Hassan. I don't know. JD Vance knows how to take a joke on Twitter. He goes along with it. He keeps reposting all the memes and photoshops about him. Good for him. Good for him. Because honestly, I'm fed up for him. They're not even funny memes. Like I'm fed up for him, but I'm happy that he's such a good sport. When Trump does the tough guy, he plays a part. He plays a part. It's a strategy to get things done. It works perfectly. In fact, when you see him in other contexts outside politics, he's a nice and caring guy. And then he said, did he not defend Destiny? I think he did. I think he did defend Destiny, and I just don't remember. Anyways, let's do something that I will find probably kind of fun. Let's watch a video criticizing Charlie criticizing the Trump administration. Let's watch that. I feel like that should be fun.
White liberal women.
I think that should be a little bit more fun. Let's see.
Brothers, so we're going to be talking about Moist Critical's latest video called Brainwashing Situation is Crazy. And the reason I want to talk about this is very simple. I don't care that this is a far-left, deranged misinformation hit piece against Trump. I even don't care that Moist Critical called Trump supporters cultists in this video.
Deranged.
And insulted their intelligence and basically went on this unhinged rant. I don't really care. We've seen this sort of thing for the last 10 years. I don't respect Moist Critical when it comes to politics, so why would I give a shit? But here's what I do care about. Here's what actually offends me about this video. As this video goes live, do you know where Trump is right now? Well, he's
Peace.
on Air Force One.
Peace.
Do you know where he's going? Well,
mind you, he did make that video when there was already talks about him. Like, it wasn't settled yet, but it was highly implied that he got the peace treaty done. He still decided to make this video. I wasn't going to say that, but he said it for me. He said it for me.
Well, he's on Air Force One. Do you know where he's going? Well, he's currently heading to Israel.
Oh my God. I think he's referring to the Ukrainian crypto trader that was found dead in his Lamborghini. Wow. Wow, I feel so bad. His crypto crashed. What the fuck? No, RIP to him. RIP to him. I won't use him as like a, you know what I mean? But wow, for him to even put it in the video, bro.
Do you know where Trump is right now? Well, he's on Air Force One. Do you know where he's going? Well, he's currently heading to Israel, specifically to Tel Aviv. Now, why is he doing that? Well, because Trump wants to meet the hostages in person. Oh, did I mention that just the other day, Trump signed a peace agreement between Israel and Hamas?
Oh, he might have.
That
Yeah.
there is a ceasefire in place and that Israel and Gaza are no longer fighting for the moment? That the so-called genocide is now over? Trump ended the genocide that these people have been bitching about for years. Even though Hamas started it by October 7th. The fact is that right now,
Talk your shit.
there is a ceasefire. Israel is not attacking Hamas. Hamas is not attacking Israel. There is a ceasefire. Oh, and as part of the first step, the hostages are being released. These people that have been in a living hell for the past 2 years, they are seeing freedom for the first time. Trump is on his way to greet them in person, to meet them in person. And what is Moist Critical's video about? It's basically the greatest hits of far left debunked bullshit propaganda against Trump. The typical brain dead, anti-Trump, dishonest, regurgitated bullshit for the first 12.
I saved you the trouble as well, Jay, but I'm sure the comment section is full of AIDS. I kind of feel like I did you a favor. I'm not gonna go back to the video just to look at the comments, but I'm 100% sure. Because when I opened the video the first time, the comment section was already fucking AIDS. So I'm sure it got worse within the last few days, especially after the peace treaty.
Dishonest, regurgitated bullshit for the first 12 minutes. And then Moist Critical does mention the ceasefire for less than 2 minutes in this video, and then goes right back to shitting on Trump. That's my problem with this video. I don't care what Moist Critical's opinion on Trump is. Moist Critical's defense whenever he gets criticism is, I'm not a political commentator. So why would I take any of his political commentary seriously? He's a joke. He basically regurgitates anything that CoffeeZilla says anyway. And CoffeeZilla is a Trump deranged retard that's been discredited in 1,000 different ways too. So why would I care about that? Well, I care about that because of the timing. We are on the verge of one of the most historic peace deals in my lifetime, where Trump has done something that everyone said was impossible.
Honestly, I have to give my take on this part. The only reason why I feel like it's possible that Trump is hiding the Epstein files is because that guy is a fucking weirdo. Like so I'm sorry to use that word because I know that's a word that's used to attack the right from the left, but no, that guy is like he's just someone that digs. He's one of those people. So he already has footage from the Epstein jail cell, all that shit. He's the one that made it go viral. He's a prominent figure and he has his head sturdy on the case. It's kind of, I just find those people kind of dangerous because they'll just dig and he's funded very well. He's just funded very well. But to me, Trump can be on the Epstein files. He also can't be on. He might not be on the Epstein files. That's my personal opinion. It is odd that he decided not to release him after his presidency. That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say.
Anyway, seriously, he's a joke. He basically regurgitates anything that CoffeeZilla says anyway. And CoffeeZilla is a Trump deranged retard that's been discredited in 1,000 different ways too. So why would I care about that? Well, I care about that because of the timing. We are on the verge of one of the most historic peace deals in my lifetime, where Trump has done something that everyone said was impossible. They said, you can't do this. This is not going to be something that happens. And Trump did it. Trump got it done. Biden wouldn't have been able to get this done. Kamala Harris probably would have made it worse by siding with Hamas. I'm being a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but she was a cackling retard. Donald Trump got peace in Gaza and the Middle East. That should be the first and last thing in this 20-minute video, is going over how unbelievable this is. That people are not going to be dying as a result of this decision. There are people who are going to be able to start rebuilding their lives as a result of this. And my heart is so full for these people. And then I see a video like this filled with hate and malice and misinformation and malevolence. And one of the things that was really interesting was Moist Critical went on this rant about how Trump has enriched himself. Him and his family have enriched themselves over this presidency. That is just a blatant out-and-out lie. Do you know for the vast majority of Trump's first term, and in fact, during Biden's term, Trump continuously lost value? He lost money. Always. Repeatedly. And by the way, this is something that you can go and verify for yourself. I'll just briefly show you Grok. Grok laid it out. 2016 pre-inauguration, he was worth $4.5 billion. 2017 early presidency, $3.5 billion. Initial drop of $1 billion post-inauguration due to lost contracts.
Sorry, is this, I wasn't paying attention. The cat distracted me. Is this he's saying that Trump lost money since his presidency, which I do believe. Let me see.
$5 billion. And by the way, this is something that you can go and verify for yourself. I'll just briefly show you Grok. Grok laid it out. 2016 pre-inauguration, he was worth $4.5 billion. 2017 early presidency, $3.5 billion. Initial drop of $1 billion post-inauguration due to lost contracts and market reactions. Yeah, basically, people didn't want anything to do with Trump because the media had spent the better part of a year calling him a racist and a bigot and a homophobe and he's Hitler 2.0. So he lost a lot of contracts. The left was raging. They were very upset. Brands didn't want anything to do with Trump because they were afraid that they were going to get burned down or attacked by far left agitators. Then Trump continues to lose money, and it says 3.1 billion to 2.1 billion. And as you see, as the years go on, he basically just continuously loses money until October 2025. Now, two things happen. One, Trump made Truth Social. And the revenue that he got from that, the money that he got from that was about $3 billion. It was estimated about $3 billion. And Trump coined. He got a bunch of money. But the idea that Trump had been making money hand over fist during his presidency is a lie. It is an out-and-out lie. And by the way, let me just mention something, Charlie, because you omitted it in your video because you were too busy ranting about Trump. Trump was nearly assassinated twice. 3 times, actually.
That a fact? Can I get a fact check on that? Wait, I thought it was only once. 3 times? I don't know about that.
Trump, 3 times, actually. Trump had, New York, Florida, all of these different broken, criminal, corrupt, left-wing DAs and judges going after him as he was trying to run for president. He was investigated by the FBI. They made up charges for him. This is one of the most clear-cut cases of lawfare that I've ever seen. This man went through absolute hell to get where he is. You don't think there was an easier way for him to make money, you fucking greasy imbecile? You low IQ, Cro-Magnon, shut-in, germaphobe freak? You don't think there would be an easier way to make money? And your biggest point of contention is that Trump sells merchandise that you particularly don't like? Don't you sell soap, Charlie? Don't you sell cheeky...
He sells fucking dog shit music at that too, sorry. I'll stop.
Don't like? Don't you sell soap, Charlie? Don't you sell cheeky soap and you're going to berate Trump because he sells cologne? Trump sells cologne and hats and towels and stuff from his days working in the field of the resort. You're really going to get pissed about that? He's selling Trump towels and Trump watches and stuff. You sell cheeky soap. What do you know about comic books, Charlie? You decided to release a comic book, Godfist. What the fuck do you know about comic books? You've never made a comic book before. But you have the money, and you said, this is what I want to do, and then you did it.
No, I think he said Godfist. I actually, because I used to watch him, I actually know what it is. I never read the shit. I think the influence for that comic book was the fucking it was like when it just started rolling out the slapping competition shit. I think it's called God Slap, not Godfist, but I never read that shit. I never would because it looked fucking terrible. But
about comic books, Charlie, you decided to release a comic book, Godfist.
No, it's
what
God
the fuck
Slap.
do you know about comic books? You've never made a comic book before. But you have the money, and you said, this is what I want to do, and then you did it. But you're going to berate Trump for that. And this whole thing is ridiculous. Why are we talking about this bullshit that's been debunked 1,000 times, as opposed to talking about Trump's historic and monumental achievement?
I don't remember that. I think we did talk about it. I don't remember that though. I don't remember that. Hold on. You're gonna make me shock you. You're gonna make me shock you. I'm gonna get a fucking collar for that cat.
Trump was able to bring peace to the Middle East. And yet we're sitting here talking about how Trump fans are cultists because they don't agree with me. They don't agree with me. Hey guys, most critical here, man. Can you believe that these Trump supporters are cultists because they don't agree with me about Trump? Now let me tell you all the misinformation and bullshit that I heard from CoffeeZilla, and let me regurgitate it as if it's on my own idea. Charlie, this was an embarrassing video. It was absolutely pathetic. It was beneath you to make. And honestly, I don't know if you got the DM from Hassan. I don't know if it was because you watched CoffeeZilla's video and you were just so angry. You got, oh, goodness, Trump is so bad. He's selling merch just like me, but when he does it, it's bad. I don't know what your deal is. But this was a humiliating video for you. It was deranged, and the timing of it could not be worse. Because Trump is currently on his way to stop a genocide, as you put it. You call Benjamin Netanyahu a genocidal freak. Right now, the Palestinians and the Israelis are cheering Donald Trump. They are so happy that he ended.
Actually, I'm so sorry. This is nothing. It actually kind of is relevant to the video, not really, but I actually learned. I watched a video yesterday. It was from the twins, but I learned something yesterday. Charlie Kirk, as much as he sided with Israel, he actually funded a lot of money to Israel, from tens to who knows how many millions to Israel. He lost a lot of donors, not because he's pro-Israel, but because one of the donors who was pro-Israel, top donor, I think he was donating like 2 million a month, something like that, to Charlie Kirk. He wanted Charlie Kirk to cancel Tucker Carlson because he was heavily criticizing Israel. And I think everyone knows that Tucker Carlson is also like pro Palestine. I don't know really on his stance on it, but Charlie decided not to cancel Tucker Carlson. So he lost a lot of donors, supposedly, at least one big one to two. And he said he was so upset, but he won't cancel Tucker Carlson. He said he'd rather fund, what was it? How did they put it? The war, like he'd rather fund the news of how the stuff gets out for Israel. Something like that. I found it interesting. Found it very interesting. He said that the news is covering it to make people, more and more people, in favor of Palestine, and he wanted to fund it. He wanted to fund the information war, is what I think he called it. And he wanted more people to be informed of what's going on and why he takes a stance on Israel. But even then, he still wouldn't cancel Tucker Carlson. I found that very impressive of that man.
It was deranged, and the timing of it could not be worse. Because Trump is currently on his way to stop a genocide, as you put it. You call Benjamin Netanyahu a genocidal freak. Right now, the Palestinians and the Israelis are cheering Donald Trump. They are so happy that he ended this. But apparently you're not happy. You're mad. You're very mad at him. Why? He sold cologne. And oh, well, he made money. There's insider trading. Do you have any evidence of that? No, of course you don't. Of course you have no evidence that Trump was calling his friends, all right, guys, all right, look, I'm going to be raising the tariffs on China. I'm going to be raising the tariffs on China. So short the stocks. It's just fucking ridiculous. This is the sort of shit we have to deal with. Trump is a phenomenal president. He's so much better than Biden that honestly, it hurts my brain to think that we elected that corpse into office. But for Moist Critical or anyone else to sit there and make a video like this that is so pathetic, so dishonest, so deranged, so riddled with misinformation on the precipice of this incredible moment, and for you to take 11 minutes to vent your fucking nonsense and then just put in like a minute of, oh yeah, there's a ceasefire, and then back to shitting on Trump. This whole video should have been about the ceasefire and how amazing it is. Lives are going to be saved. Charlie, is it that you don't think that Trump deserves the credit? Because Benjamin Netanyahu himself said that Trump deserves a Nobel Peace Prize for this. Everyone involved has said that Trump was instrumental in this.
Oh, but he doesn't care what he has to say.
So I
He's
don't
a
know what your
genocide.
malfunction is. I don't know why you are so brain broken about Trump. Everything that you brought up is either half-truths, misinformation, or just out-and-out propaganda bullshit. You need to get better information if you're going to be talking about politics, brother. It's not good enough that you just went and saw something that CoffeeZilla said, because all I had to do was go to Grok, and it's abundantly clear that you're full of shit. Trump did not make all this money during his first term. Man, he was so rich. Oh, man, he like quadrupled the money he made in his first term. No, he didn't. He lost money every single year. Because the left is an unhinged, deranged terrorist group that masquerades as a political party and made Trump's brand toxic because they would attack anyone that did business with him. Anyway, brothers, I'm not going to take much more of your time, but I'm honestly disappointed in Moist Critical. And by the way, let me end on something positive, okay?
The guy who defended transing kids has TDS. No way. Oh, I'm 420. I got the 420 light. Word. Brainwashing, like Hassan had a whole brainwashing campaign to make people not believe their. Wow, a groomer supporter has TDS. I'm willing to bet Charlie lost a chunk of his audience by D-Dot. No, the scary thing is he still has 17 million subscribers after that video. Even after saying that he doesn't care if people make their kids trans, he still has that huge fucking subscriber. Like, I unsubbed after hearing that he doesn't care about fucking kids. He used to be here. Out of like the few that's here, he used to be here. He ain't here no more. This guy's a Charlie supporter too, though. I might unsub to him because I only followed him because he was giving information about YouTube trying to pass a whole ID shit, but whatever. Yeah. Anyways.
Let me end on something positive about Moist Critical. This was a pretty harsh video towards Moist. And I don't like Moist. I don't either. I don't think he's a particularly good person. I think that he puts on a facade. But a lot of his left-wing policies lead to making immoral and absolutely indefensible policy positions that he would be okay with. He affirms the LGBTQ. He affirms the transitioning of kids, even though he walked that back. That's initially what was on his brain, that would be perfectly fine.
Yes, he did.
Which I don't think that transitioning people at all is okay. I think that is a form of mental illness that should be treated with compassion, but it should be regarded as mental illness, not affirmed. You wouldn't say, oh, well, you're 18, so your schizophrenia is totally normal, and we're going to affirm, yes, that is a snake that's breathing fire in front of you. No, absolutely fucking not. But what I will say is I do admire the fact that Moist Critical is slightly different than other content creators in that he was willing to criticize Hassan for Hassan shocking his dog, which, by the way, let me play real quick just to refresh your memory in case some of you hadn't seen the clip. I don't know how. But Hassan did shock his dog live on stream.
Of all of America's much more consequential
Kaya,
violence,
please.
okay? It's the same reason as to why America, Kaya, please just fucking go, just stop.
You sick bastard.
Yeah, Hassan has a history of abusing his dog. More and more clips are coming to light. This guy should absolutely be in jail. I mean, what a demented monster this guy is. What a pathetic, putrid monster. Anyway, yeah, I think that Moist Critical calling him out, even if it was in a very gentle and soft way, I think that shows a spine. That's something that Ludwig would never do. So I think that's a huge win. On top of that, Moist Critical did say he was turning off super chats and memberships, and he is a multimillionaire, so I think that is a pretty cool thing. Moist Critical would make money off of ad revenue and his businesses and stuff, and I think that's great that he's like, you know what, I don't need money from people that make probably like $30,000 to $40,000 a year. I don't need them to pay me like $100 or whatever to like have an interaction on stream. I think that's pretty cool. I do. And there are some takes that Moist Critical that I do agree with, like the Pokemon, the Pokemon trading card fights. I mean, that is good content that he does. I think the problem is that when Moist Critical dips his toe into politics, he's a fucking retard. And he's out of his depth. I think that Moist Critical, and this is honest feedback, this is honest feedback, Moist Critical should stay out of politics. He doesn't have the stomach for it. He doesn't have the brains for it. He doesn't have the character for it. Because every time he talks about politics, he knee-jerks into these far-left positions that are just objectively wrong, both morally and intellectually and factually. Anyway, brothers, that's going to do it for today's video.
What does that make him a good person? He's not an actual, like, he knows what he's doing. He's just like his son. Like, he deserves as much criticism as you can give, bro. There's no holding back. I'm not a fan of any of his videos at this point. He just kind of just makes me want to stay away from him. Super chat thing, cool, I guess. Doesn't change the fact that he's still rich as shit. He doesn't have to turn it off. There's plenty of people that make close to how much he makes and still leaves donations off. It's not that cool. That's all I gotta say.
And the state of Massachusetts.
The DM from Hassan was probably an invite for a threesome with him in Destiny. What? What is this?
My point when I say I'm not going to be apocalyptic, it's not changing a tune. It's not making every single thing a 5-alarm fire. Yeah. If he does good, if he gets the Israeli hostages out, I promise I will wear a MAGA hat for one day on the show and say, thank you for doing it. Yeah. She'll knock it right off my head. But like, you have to be able to cheer for wins when they happen and then call out relentlessly the wrongdoing.
Also, I was going to hold back saying this, but I'm just going to say it. Charlie wishes that he was Charlie Kirk. Like I said, he's not done. But he wishes he was Charlie Kirk. This man probably idolizes Rachel Maddow. He sits there and watches her, I'm sure. An informed journalist said that Netanyahu personally called Charlie Kirk right before his death to offer him a huge amount of money, but Kirk refused because he didn't want to lose the freedom of speech. Yeah, that man just R.I.P. man. R.I.P. Oh, I was gonna ask you too. Was the Italian prime minister here? I think I seen her in the background here. Is that her right there? I know that's that Canadian fuck right there. Is it? That's either the Canadian fuck or the French fuck. I think it's Canadian. Oh, that's her? Okay. I thought I saw her.
This took 3,000 years to get to this point. Can you believe it? And it's going to hold up, too. It's going to hold up.
Good shit, yo. Good shit.
Has been a day for the ages in the Middle East. First, all remaining living hostages held by Hamas
That's the
in
French
Gaza
one?
were returned to their families.
I don't know. I get them confused.
1,900 Palestinians were sent the other way as part of a prisoner exchange. Then global leaders got to the business of working out the next steps in a peace plan led by the US President Donald Trump. Joining us live now is CNN's Nick Robertson. Again, Nick, it's good to have you with us on what's been a busy day for you. It was also a very busy day for the US president, a marathon effort, if you like, who spent barely 12 hours on the ground in 2 different countries. But on that summit, what came out of it?
Well, we learned from President Trump that he feels he's got financial commitments from countries in this region, other leaders, Muslim-majority nations, others, Europeans as well, to do the rebuild in Gaza. He feels that the money is coming forward there. And he signed this peace deal document with the other mediators, with President Sisi of Egypt, President Erdogan of Turkey, and the Emir of Qatar. What we don't get a sense of is the document, the precise wording in the document, or even rough paragraphs in the document for what they actually signed. It appears to be the signature on the first phase, which was the prison release, hostage release, ceasefire deal. But I think where some leaders may have left here today feeling that they don't have the answers that they might have expected to come from the summit, we don't get a sense of, let's say, the international stabilization force that we don't know how big it's going to be.
Don't blame you. They're both puppies. It's easy to confuse.
The international stabilization force that we don't know how big it's going to be, maybe 20 to 40,000 troops, what mandate they'll have, will they have UN backing, what would their rules of engagement be? Hugely important when you go into a potentially contentious military environment, as they will be going into Gaza, where Hamas still has weapons and needs disarming. So all of that detail didn't come out today. That sense of momentum, taking the momentum of the first phase and transferring that to getting moving on the second phase. I don't think the leaders left here today, having created here, at least publicly, a sense that they have a big momentum to speedily get to that next phase in Gaza. Let's see. But that document hasn't yet been shared, so we don't know what they actually signed up to.
With all of that said, Nick, is that proof now that the previous months of negotiations regarding the hostages is actually the easy bit? The hard part's ahead, which kind of flies in the face of what Donald Trump said earlier.
The hard part is to come. The hard part is the detail. The hard part perhaps will be that moment where somebody, Donald Trump, has to tell Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel, okay, you're frustrated Hamas isn't disarming fast enough, but you're just going to have to hold tight, because it's now over to me, the chairman of the Board of Peace, that's overseeing the international body, that's overseeing growing a Palestinian governance in Gaza, that's overseeing the disarming of Hamas. Or it could be Hamas saying, yeah, thank you very much. We're quite happy the people of Gaza like us. We're still going to be here.
I gotta go to the restroom real quick. Be right back. Be right back. All right, let's go. I'll be on stream for like another hour and a half. Let's do. I watched this video already. I think I watched it. Did I watch this all of it? I think I might have not watched all of it. I don't know.
Our government.
I don't want to watch it on stream. What is this? Saturday Night Live. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna shock my cat. Give me 1 second. Let's go.
Agents are working without pay. Luckily, my boys, our government agents are working without pay. Luckily, my boys at ICE don't mind. They're in it for the love of the game. And how did I find them? By running ads like this.
Lord have mercy. If I put this one a problem, I can help us solve it. For what's on my headache, but for my target. Extra retarded, should have been about it. Think out like I'm Calvin, cause I piss on them regardless. Two perks I just started, 4 perks feeling gorgeous. 529 on for the gangsters.
Yo, Homeland Security has turned NBC Saturday Night Live latest episode against the show in a creative recruitment. What? The skit attempted to mock U.S. Attorney General Pam Bundy, played by Annie Coelger during your Senate Judiciary Committee oversight hearing this week. I know it's Pat, but I spell it with an I because I answer any questions. What? My time is valuable. The DOJ has many ongoing operations and like Cash Patel's eyeballs very quickly. That's me. Is Chrissy know him? I spell my name with an I because that's how I thought it was spelled. And I'm the rarest type of person in Washington, D.C. Brunette with Donald Trump. Donald Trump. This is. The best response to skip by Homeland Security. Just get these account alerts and turn the skit and use it as free advertising. Post X Homeland Security using clear the skip return.
Let's have a look at the social media output of the Department of Homeland Security. We are certainly in a new era. CJ, that makes me want to apply for a job with ICE.
I think you're exactly right, and I gotta tell you, this is exactly.
What was he gonna say? I forgot what to say. Hold on, we'll save the Hassan shit for later.
Have you heard of
Some of the last shit I'll watch.
CNN has spectacularly and surprisingly slammed Barack Obama.
Honestly, it's not unfair to say if President Obama's going to write a whole post about a peace deal, maybe he should acknowledge the president that brokered it.
If Donald Trump gets a peace deal, he deserves the credit.
The criticism came after.
Actually, do I want to watch that video? It looked a little entertaining, but I didn't really care for that, so I closed it. Watched like 2 minutes of this shit already.
Have you heard about the ceasefire deal?
I did, yes. I did.
What do you think about it?
So this is the first.
Yeah, I kind of do want to watch this actually. Let's keep watching other shit though. Shorter shit.
Former president.
If Donald Trump gets a peace deal, he deserves the credit.
The criticism came after the former president wrote a lengthy post on X that celebrated the end of the war but gave no recognition of Donald Trump's pivotal brokering of the deal. The post read, "After 2 years of unimaginable loss and suffering for Israeli families and the people of Gaza, we should all be encouraged and relieved that an end to the conflict is within sight, that those hostages still being held will be reunited with their families, and that vital aid can start reaching those inside Gaza whose lives have been shattered. More than that though, it now falls on Israelis and Palestinians with the support of the US and the entire world community to begin the hard task of rebuilding Gaza. and to commit to a process that, by recognizing the common humanity and basic rights of both people, can achieve a lasting peace. Donald Trump Jr. lashed out the post, cheekily adding, "I'll finish it for you. Thank you, Donald Trump." Online commentators were left shocked that CNN called out the former president, with this person saying, "CNN calling out Obama, pigs are flying," and this person agreed, saying, "Hell just froze over." In addition to Obama's refusal to acknowledge Trump's part in the peace deal, Anthony Blinken also tried to undermine Trump, which the president called a joke.
And they were in places that you don't want to know about. Deep.
Some of the top Biden administration folks who were there, like Anthony Blinken, seem to want some credit for the peace deal. Blinken says it's good that President Trump adopted and built on the plan that the Biden administration developed. What do you think about that?
Everybody knows that's a joke. Look, they did such a bad job. This should have never happened. This wouldn't have even happened. That was weak leadership, terrible. And the same thing with Russia, Ukraine. If just a decent president, not a great president like me, not a great president. If a decent president was in, you wouldn't have had the Russia-Ukraine. And this is, I would say, even more so. This was bad policy by Biden and by Obama. Remember when Bibi came and he begged that you not do what they were doing with Iran? You remember that, right? Begged them. And they wouldn't even listen to him. Everything they did was the opposite of what you should have done. And it's nice that they try and take a little credit. That was years ago, and the mistakes were made years ago, and it was both by Biden and Obama.
And whilst Obama and Blinken continued to ignore President Trump's groundbreaking strides forward, another former Trump rival is taking the high road. Hillary Clinton praised Trump for the peace deal.
It's a really significant first step, and I really commend President Trump and his administration, as well as Arab leaders in the region, for making the commitment to the 20-point plan and seeing a path forward for what's often called the day after.
And the mainstream media seemingly have no choice but to congratulate Trump on brokering the deal.
We've heard it again and again from a number of people today, really giving credit to President Trump for getting this deal over the finish line. What are you hearing from your sources with regard to President Trump's role in getting both parties to sign off on at least the first phase of this peace plan?
Well, certainly this is an enormous moment for the world, but also for this administration. A big win for the president, who has been very personally involved in this, Lindsay.
MSNBC doubled down on the praise.
Joe Biden could never do that. And Donald Trump was able to do it, and did it at the decisive moment when he said, essentially, this war must end.
And Donald Trump himself acknowledged the unity across political lines that this peace deal has brought.
A very special time, and I guess if you read your own papers and your own networks, everybody's very excited about this moment in time. So I'll see you on the plane. I think you're traveling with us, but this is a very special event. They had 500,000 people yesterday and today in Israel, and also the Muslim and Arab countries are all cheering. Everybody's cheering at one time. That's never happened before. Usually if you have one cheering, the other isn't. The other is the opposite. This is the first time everybody is amazed and they're thrilled, and it's an honor to be involved, and we're going to have an amazing time, and it's going to be something that's never happened before. So I'll see you on the plane, and we're going to have a good time. Okay, Peter? Nice to see you. Thank you, everybody. See you in a little while.
And Trump is right, with celebrations breaking out on the streets of Gaza over the weekend. But an end to the war and the release of hostages is not enough for activists of the West, with pro-Palestine protests continuing across the globe despite the peace deal being made, like in Montreal, Canada, where Antifa was chanted.
Long live Antifada! 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 Antifada!
This commentator said pro-Palestinian Islamists take over the streets of Montreal, Canada. Despite the war being over, they say their work is not done and the protests will continue. It was never about Palestine. It's about destroying the West.
I hope someone from here doesn't set off an attack and starts the shit all over again. That's what I worry about. They go over there and start some shit. Really hope that doesn't happen.
Bro, you can.
There is. I want to watch this. There's one more video I want to watch. This maybe. Probably say this for tomorrow. Or I'll watch it offline. Where is the? What was another video? Oh, it's up here, I think. There's one more video I want to watch.
Why won't I?
I think that.
Here it is.
I am. Oh my gosh.
Start this one. It's 5 minutes. Oh, look, there she go again. What is this? I'll save that for last. Nah, we'll watch it.
Italy, we have a young woman who's, I'm not allowed to say it because usually it's the end of your political career if you say it. She's a beautiful.
Look at that piece of shit right there.
I'm not allowed to say it because usually it's the end of your political career if you say it. She's a beautiful young woman. Now, if you use the word beautiful in the United States about a woman, that's the end of your political career, but I'll take my chances. Where is she? There she is. You don't mind being called beautiful, right? Because you are. Thank you very much for coming. We appreciate it.
I think there might be an outrage because he didn't sniff her. There might be an outrage because of that. Maybe rub her shoulders a little bit.
She wanted to be here, and she's incredible, and they really respect her in Italy. She's a very successful politician. It's such a compliment to what we're doing because what we've done is something very unique and very special. So it's perhaps the wealthiest and most powerful group of nations ever assembled at one time, which is a big thing. We have achieved together in recent days a change that really is historic, and it's going to be remembered forever. And I want to thank the American team for their amazing work, and I think he'll go down as the greatest Secretary of State in the history of our country. I really believe that, Marco, or I wouldn't say it. Marco Rubio, I wouldn't say it.
Well, joining us live now is former Israeli intelligence officer Avi Melamed.
So, is it not possible for Trump to win the Nobel Peace Prize since it was already presented to someone?
Avi, good to see you. Thanks for your time this morning. How are you feeling on a day like today, given the emotion, given the politics that you've just heard there, but more so the emotion of the exchange of hostages and prisoners?
Next week we get. Well, this is, of course, a very emotional day for Israelis, including myself, of course. We are very happy to see our brothers back home. We still remember that there are other hostages, unfortunately, deceased. There are hostages in Gaza, and they have to be brought back.
It must be a bittersweet feeling on that point because, as I understand it, only 4 bodies have been returned, those who've been deceased, where Israel were being told more than 20 were there, but now Hamas is saying, well, we don't know where they
Oh,
are.
I just saw this message. Trump made a joke with President of Egypt about the fact he should have talked both Trump and Hillary Clinton, but he liked me too much and kept talking to me and didn't want to talk to Hillary.
Yes, it was expected, and I think that Hamas is not necessarily playing here. I think that there is some difficulty in finding and tracing the remains of those who unfortunately died in Gaza Strip, the kidnapped, the hostages. So we knew that it's going to take some time, maybe some long time, until some of them will be retrieved.
Both sides don't trust each other. Is the war over?
I would say that we have witnessed now the end of the hostilities period, but this is all under one big question mark. All the talks about peace are a little bit exaggerated, of course. We are in a very, very sensitive and fluid situation, and we should expect that phase to continue. I mean, we should remember that on the one hand, Hamas is still not disarmed itself. Its tunnels are still out there. Israel maintains military presence in Gaza Strip. So we are looking at a very, very fluid situation.
You fall
that
asleep,
could
David?
change in every given moment. So I think that we should be very cautious looking at the situation and basically looking at one step at a time to see how things will evolve.
So given your experience from an intelligence point of view, what will you do now? I mean, I know Israel's had to pull back to a withdrawal line, but from an intelligence standpoint, what do you do to make sure that Hamas is upholding its side of the deal?
Well, you maintain a very, very close watch to see what Hamas is doing. Now, in that perspective, the most significant thing currently is the Israeli military presence on the ground, particularly along the lines that are supposed to cut Hamas attempts to renew the supply of weapons into Gaza Strip, namely particularly in parallel to the area of the Gaza-Egypt border, the famous Philadelphia corridor and the famous area of Rafah. That has to be encompassed with a very strict and increasing intelligence efforts on the ground, which, by the way, has to be done in coordination with other agencies to make sure that there will be no flow or reflow of ammunition and weapons into Gaza Strip, particularly from the Egyptian side. So when you're talking about from an intelligence perspective, this is, of course, one of the major tasks. There are other tasks, for example, to follow and to see what is evolving inside Gaza Strip in terms of...
I'll just watch a couple more. Watch 1, 2. That's too long.
And YouTube.
Maybe 3. It has the uploads. Let's go.
What she has done is try to turn this. We talked about people, using things to kind of get likes and get clicks.
That's not what she's doing. Here's one. Wait, we got 2 more. I mean, this woman is just, how is this happening to California? Here she is saying that her 12-year-old is worried that she can't get an abortion.
So on election night, I went to pick up my daughter from water polo practice, and she's 12, and she got in the car and she was crying. And I said, did someone punch you? Like, water polo is a rough sport. I was like, did someone hit you? Did the coach yell at you? What happened? And she said, Mom, Trump won. Trump's going to win. And what if I get raped and I need to have an abortion? This is from a 12-year-old, my 12-year-old daughter. And so it was really a reminder of how scary this time is for people and how important it is for Democrats to have strategies, both at the state level and the federal level,
I just
to
look at
make
my
sure
kid.
that we can continue to protect
The
people's rights.
fuck you just say?
God, I love how starting a family involves killing a baby for these people. Also, yes, your daughter got in the car and was crying that she got raped and she wouldn't be able to get an abortion. Like, it's just nonsense. And by the way, if you were concerned about your daughter being raped or whatever, you might want to be a little harder on crime and illegal immigration in California. She sort of looks like Mrs. Trunchbull from Matilda, doesn't she? That woman
Little
freaked
crazier
me
than
out.
that.
Somehow I saw that in the theater. What year did that come out? I think maybe I was a camp counselor or something. And it was a rainy day and we had to take the kids to the 96. So I was 19. Yeah, I was a summer camp counselor and it was a rainy day. We took the kids to see Matilda. It's pretty good. It still stands the test of time. All right, here's one more of Katie Porter. She was on Bill Maher a while back with Piers Morgan, and she went after Riley Gaines because Riley, you know Riley, she's a girl, and she was swimming and wanted to swim with girls, and then there was a guy with a wang who pretended he was a girl to use the penis as a propeller, beat her, and then she was a little annoyed about that, so she became outspoken when it came to guys with wangs beating girls in swimming.
We should be able to have a civil debate. Nobody, including Riley Gaines, who I disagree with strongly, should feel
What do you disagree with, out of interest?
I think that it should be able to have a civil debate. Nobody, including we should be able to have a civil debate. Nobody, including Riley Gaines, who I disagree with strongly, should feel
What do you disagree with, out of interest?
I think that it should be up to sporting bodies to make the decisions about who and
what
how
has she
should
said
compete.
that's actually wrong?
I think that what she has done is try to turn this. We talked about people, using things to kind of get likes and get clicks.
That's not what she's doing.
It's
I've got no truck for Riley Gaines personally, but all I've seen her do is stand up for women's rights to fairness and equality.
Well,
she actually competed against Leah Thomas, and it was obviously unfair. Leah Thomas won one of the races in the NCAA championships by 50 seconds against a bunch of biological females who simply couldn't keep up. That cannot be right. It cannot be fair.
That is something that I think our sporting bodies should be dealing with. And by the way, Riley is speaking up for herself, and that is her prerogative, and I respect her free speech.
I think she's speaking up for pretty much every female athlete in the world.
I mean, wasn't that the point of Title IX? Title IX in the early 70s was something that was it was a major event in feminism, that we finally have this law that says at colleges, right, and I think high schools too, but definitely colleges, women's sports have to be given equal to men's sports so that women aren't and this led to the WNBA and lots of other stuff. This seems to be the opposite of that. It seems to be so many instances, I think, where wokeness is the opposite of what I grew up as liberalism. Liberalism was, let's give the women an equal shot. This is let's put a male in the swimming pool with the women. I don't get it.
It's crazy. And meanwhile, trans people who genuinely want to compete at athletics and swimming or whatever it may be, they're the ones who are suffering here. They need to be found a way to compete fairly and justly.
Well, what's your answer then?
I think there's one or two answers. I think they either compete against their biological sex, as many of them did before, or you create an entirely new category for transgender athletes. And then they're able to compete fairly. But what you cannot do is continue to allow more and more trans athletes to start decimating women's records, in some cases, irrevocably. It's just not fair.
Okay, I got to end it there.
Why, Katie Porter, can you not just step up for women? You have a 12-year-old daughter who's afraid she's going to be raped and not be able to get an abortion. Do you want her to be beaten in swimming too after having lived through all of that?
Yeah. Let's go. Yeah.
Talked about your podcast and you talked about having Charlie Kirk on there, Steve Bannon, and there were a lot of people who were critical about the decision to have them on your podcast, specifically the first guest being Charlie Kirk. And I think a lot of the criticism was kind of like,
that's so stupid because Charlie Kirk represents the majority of the country. Right. So you're just going to disregard half the country and you want to become president? You want to be governor? You want to disregard 50% of your potential constituents? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and she's confirming, validating the liberals' perspective. They're no longer liberal. Stop calling them liberal. They're progressive. They don't believe in freedom of speech.
okay, there's this line of, are you platforming right-wing voices, or are they on there for you to challenge some of the things that they promote or they fight for? And I guess the question I would ask you is, where we are right now, I've heard you talk about it, our democracy is at stake. That's how we feel. We feel hopeless. We feel desperate. Is it the right time to
democracy is at stake, but they want to silence the other 50% of the country.
platform those voices if you're not particularly challenging them. And the reason I say that is because when you just spoke about DEI with us and CRT, there was a passion there. You know, you laid out exactly how you feel about it. But when I listened to that podcast with Charlie Kirk, it was more of a, he was talking. It wasn't necessarily a challenging or a pushback. What would you say to people who were critical about having voices like that on your podcast if you're not going to necessarily challenge them or speak about it in the way that you just did?
And we should say that we are those voices, by the way.
Yeah,
we were
yeah,
critical.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'd say that was not the point of the podcast. I opened the podcast saying this: if you're tuning in to tune up the back and forth, watch primetime cable. That's not why I did the platform. That's not why I did the podcast. But to suggest a platform, I had 0 viewers. 0. Who's platforming whom? When I had Charlie on. By the way, he was the one who said yes and flew out first. Wasn't my intent to have back to back to back sort of hardcore right. But divorce, I've said this, divorce is not an option. We define the terms of our future. He exists. I could turn my back and act like he doesn't exist, but he, until the unacceptable tragic assassination, he was promoting, what he was promoting was making real inroads with young folks in college campuses. He was here at USC right before. In fact, I think the day or two before he came up for the podcast, he was down here and I saw these unbelievable crowds. I mean, that was real. And the work that he was putting out and what he was able to achieve for Donald Trump was real. And you could deny it, we could dismiss it. But I thought it was important to understand it. And I'll tell you, the overwhelming majority of people didn't even know who the hell he was. Who's this guy you have on there? Yeah, now everyone knows. But I'm just.
A lot of people knew who Charlie Kirk was. Hey, Keith, Governor Newsom made a great point. I had 0 followers. Who's platforming who? Yeah. He brought a lot of viewers over to Gavin Newsom when he did that podcast with him. Yeah. And probably the main reason why he didn't provide any pushback is because he couldn't. Because the majority of the policies that's coming from the right, they're sound logically, and it just makes sense. Yeah. He had nothing to refute those. Yeah, Democrats' ideas cannot stand up to scrutiny. No. They can't withstand scrutiny. So he's not going to offer any pushback. He can't. Yeah. You can't say 4 + 4 = 8, and then you can't. This is what I'm trying to say. Charlie Kirk can't come say 4 + 4. Let me calm down. Charlie Kirk can't say 4 + 4 = 8, and he come back. No, it's not. It's 8.5. You can't. That's how dumb the ideas are. Yeah.
I'm honestly, I'm trying to be a civil guy, and the purpose of my podcast is not to get in debates. I have no energy for that. That's what I do 24/7 the rest of the damn week. I want to.
That's dumb.
What?
You're having a popular right wing advocate come on your podcast, and you're not going to debate him. How are you going to win elections if you don't refute and debunk his positions on anything? What's the point? Yeah, that makes sense, but especially if you're asking the left to vote for you. That would be a stupid approach to your podcast. They want to see you just destroy Charlie Kirk. Yeah. That's what they want to see. Yeah, but you can't. You can't.
Create a space where I can start to understand.
He wants to understand the right. Yeah. He understands right. Everybody understands right. Even the left understands right. Yeah. They just don't agree with. He just
I'm glad we're having this conversation. And because this is what you're talking to a black woman and you're talking to a black man, and
who cares? Yeah. Just who cares if what color your skin is? It's the year 2025, and this is how majority of black people think. Y'all sound like black supremacists. Yeah, it has nothing to do with your skin color. What if a white man's you're talking to a white man and a white woman? How dare you? Yeah, this is disrespectful. You a traitor to your race. That is stupid. You talking to a black man and a black woman. Yeah. You're talking it's not relevant. Yeah, you're talking to Americans. Yeah. Just leave it at that.
Having these you talked about Charlie Kirk, and while the assassination of Charlie Kirk was a terrible thing, the Charlie Kirk that I heard was impugning black women.
Pretty disgraceful, disgusting things he said.
Right. So that to me.
What did he say about black women? And why don't y'all share that content during the podcast? Yeah. So you can point out how disgusting Charlie Kirk
Charlie Kirk was.
Yeah, but he wasn't disgusting.
Yeah.
They take his words out of context. They use words that doesn't describe him.
Yeah. One of his best friends is a black woman. Idiots.
While we are
they when he started Turning Point, they was that was his right-hand man. She was always up on stage with him.
And I still think they was pretty close after the fact, after they had their little breakup.
having conversation has to be challenged, and the entire world has to know that's a lie.
Yeah, I get it. Look, I mean, I gave you specific examples of me challenging,
certainly,
including social studies books and these specific actions that others have taken, and the censoring of historical fact and the rewriting of history. And you can't go a day without seeing me attacking those goddamn things and standing up for the black and brown community in this state. You can't go a day. Take a look at my feed. Look at my social media.
He sounds just like Joe Biden, don't he? You see, you took the Lord's name in vain and you trying to become president?
Look at me on these press
Yeah.
conferences and what I'm doing and saying. Look at the bills I'm signing in this respect. Again, with respect, my podcast is a place where I'm just trying to mind the other side and understand what's going on. For one reason, I want to understand those I disagree with, because I want to get better and I want to be smarter. And
Well, you're not getting better. You're not getting smarter. You're not understanding half the country.
Yeah.
You don't even debate half the country.
Yeah, a very easy issue that's going on in California is men and women's sports. That's low-hanging fruit. You can't solve that problem?
I want to win. These guys won. They kicked our ass. And we're dealing with the tyranny of this administration every goddamn day. And so for me,
man,
it's
you need to
about
stop
power,
using Lord's name in vain.
taking back our power. It's not about punditry and it's not about having a goddamn candlelight visual.
3 times.
You still want to be president?
You potty mouth governor.
I mean, Trump is
You're
saying,
not going to get elected
Trump
using the Lord's name in vain over and over like that.
Trump has never done that.
Yeah, he called some people SOBs.
Yeah, but
he won't use the Lord's name in vain.
Yeah, and this is a conversation to have. There's no reason to use that language at all.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in a white paper on this shit. I'm a practitioner. We got to get out there. We got to win. I care about winning. That's what Prop 50 is about. It's about power. This son of a bitch is going to not only rewrite history, it's over. The history of this country. We won't have a country in a year if this guy's successful. We're at the 250th anniversary of the Founding Fathers. That's next year. There might not be another free and fair election unless we...
Look, the fearmongering we heard during this last election cycle, what did Oprah say?
Yeah.
If Trump becomes president, black women ain't going to ever be able to vote again.
And you know what? That would be a good thing.
No, it wouldn't.
Yes, it would. They're horrible voters.
I would say majority of just overall women. You know, majority of women vote for Democrats.
Yeah, but black women are far worse.
Well, yeah, they voted at a 95% clear. That is just, that's what you call just complete idiocy. That's a monolith. But like 60% of white women vote for Democrats.
Yeah, but it's not 95%. I'll pick a white woman over a black woman.
When it comes to vote, huh?
Yeah. Over anything.
win back this House of Representatives. It's that serious. And so I want to understand their game. I want to understand how they're operating.
It's common
because
sense.
we got our ass kicked. We got our ass kicked in the last election.
Why did we lose?
For all these reasons. That we're too timid, that we don't have a message, that we're not on the offense, that we're not.
Man, it's not that you don't have a message. It is your message.
Yeah.
Your message sucks.
Yeah.
And you still have not learned that, but you claim you're trying to learn from the right? No, you're not.
Y'all are so far gone. How did y'all, it's next to impossible to incentivize the American people to overwhelmingly vote for a Republican that y'all lost the popular vote. That's how bad y'all are. That hadn't happened in 20 years.
We won Nevada. Republicans took Nevada for the first time.
You lost major ground in New Mexico.
Yeah,
California,
and
New
you
York.
lost a lot of ground in blue states.
Yeah.
And y'all still doubling down and not changing your tune on anything.
Yeah. Florida is blood red. It's dark red.
It used to be purple.
Yeah. But y'all's policies, y'all's message suck, you need to change your message.
Yeah.
You need to be more liberal. You need to be more moderate.
You need
more
to be in the
common
middle.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, more traditional.
This progressive message that y'all have.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying y'all shouldn't stick with it.
Yeah.
Keep on doing it.
Yeah. Let me calm down.
Yeah.
That progressive message is the same message that destroyed Rome.
Yeah. Now Florida is more red than California is blue.
Yeah. Y'all can't see the warning signs?
Nope, they can't.
Good.
This dude on here, I know he's running for president. He in there dropping GDs every.
Yeah, you think it's cool in front of black folks.
Yeah.
But majority of America don't like that language.
Yeah.
They're like a SOB here now and then. Maybe an F word. But
Yeah.
it's got to make sense. You in there just cussing for no reason. You used the Lord's name in vain 3 times. That's nuts if you're running for president in the United States of America.
Yeah.
Good video. Good video. What is this?
It's time for Media Meltdowns, and even though President Trump has pulled off the impossible, ending the war between Israel and Hamas and securing the return of all of the hostages, there are plenty of lefties and Democrats with so much TDS they cannot bring themselves to thank the president who did this. Former President Barack Obama posted about it on X and refused to mention Donald Trump's name. His post was just all waffle. It was so pathetic, even CNN has slammed him for it.
President Obama put out this post talking about the peace deal and the prospects of it, and Don Jr. responded to it. I'll finish it for you. Thank you, Donald Trump. Honestly, it's not unfair to say if President Obama's going to write a whole post about a peace deal, maybe he should acknowledge the president that brokered it.
It's not often you have CNN agreeing with Don Jr., but pay attention to the Democrats who refuse to credit the president right now. I mean, Elizabeth Warren also wrote a post on X that was just as ridiculous, refusing to say Donald Trump's name, and she clearly missed the memo. If there's a time that you should probably give the president credit, it's maybe when he ends wars. Even Hillary Clinton praised the president for the peace deal.
It's a really significant first step, and I really commend President Trump and his administration, as well as Arab leaders in the region, for making the commitment to the 20-point plan and seeing a path forward for what's often called the day after.
Now, Kamala Harris was asked about it, and even though you can see it in her eyes, it pains her, but she credits the president for his incredible work in bringing peace to the Middle East.
When this airs, President Trump will be on his way to the Middle East. They have this deal between Israel and Palestine. Both former Secretaries of State Hillary Clinton and Antony Blinken have commended President Trump for the ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas. Do you agree with them? Should he be commended?
Look, I don't think that we should hold in credit where it's due. I mean, first of all, let me say about that deal, I really do hope it becomes real and that the hostages are out, that Gaza is no longer being treated with such brutality of force, that aid goes in. And I commend the people who have been a part of this process. I'd commend the Qataris, the Egyptians, and the president.
There it is. Joining us now is James Morrow. James, thank you so much for joining us again. I mean,
pleasure.
There are still Democrats like Elizabeth Warren, Barack Obama, who have no interest in thanking the president for his incredible work. And even Kamala Harris does right there, but you can tell she really, really does not want to. And are you surprised?
Well, I'm not surprised at all, but there's a couple of more points that need to be made about this. I mean, number one, just watching Kamala Harris there, think about the bullet that the world, not just the U.S., but the world dodged there, right? Because if she had won that presidential election, she would be president. And I'll tell you what, those hostages, they'd still be in captivity.
100%.
This peace deal would not have happened. and the United States would be pursuing a retread, a third term, or really a fourth term of the Obama legacy of a failed foreign policy. And that's why I thought the Barack Obama tweet that you referenced before was so interesting. Because what has happened now, and what Donald Trump started with the Abraham Accords in his first term of office, and then has continued with this peace deal here, has been a complete and entire refutation of the Barack Obama foreign policy. That foreign policy, let's not forget what that was about. That foreign policy was about reorienting the entire Middle East and strengthening Iran. That's what the Iran deal was all about. Iran, the big sponsor of terrorism, of Hamas around the world, was given more power because they wanted to weight power away from America's historic ally, Israel. It was an insane idea, but that's what they did. So no wonder Barack Obama is so churlish about this. His life's work of reorienting America from Tel Aviv to Tehran has all come to nothing. And peace has been achieved, and he has been proved completely wrong. So no wonder he's so shirty about it.
I want to watch that full segment of Bill Maher and this dude. I don't know if that's copyright though or not. I want to watch this too, but I think I'm just gonna watch one more and get out of here.
Came in and said, okay, that's great, but you're not allowed to be Christian anymore. If you do this thing that your faith has impelled you to do, you have to stop being Christian or we're going to take your kids away. Foster parents in Massachusetts told by the government, you're going to lose your kids because you're Christian. Here is the local news report.
Christian faith, it really drives us toward that. Like James says, that true undefiled religion is to care for the fatherless.
The Woburn couple reconfigured their home to care for 8 foster children, including a baby with complex medical needs, for 15 months.
Every night for 15 months, we were up at least three times. Yeah.
That's in addition to their own 3 kids. And they were ready to keep going until Massachusetts Department of Children and Families pulled their license last spring. Foster family must accept a child's assertion of their LGBTQIA+ identity, address children by their names and pronouns, and support gender-neutral practices regarding clothes and physical appearance.
We had asked, is there any sort of accommodation? Can you waive this at all? We will absolutely love and support and care for any child in our home, but we simply can't agree to go against our Christian faith in this area. And we're ultimately told, no, you must sign the form as is, or else you will be delicensed.
Do you see the irony here, too? The reason that they took these kids in, these are foster parents. These aren't parents who are adopting newborn.
We had asked
gender+ identity, address children by their names and pronouns, and support gender-neutral practices regarding clothes and physical appearance.
We had asked, is there any sort of accommodation? Can you waive this at all? We will absolutely love and support and care for any child in our home, but we simply can't agree to go against our Christian faith in this area. And we're ultimately told, no, you must sign the form as is, or else you will be delicensed.
Do you see the irony here, too? The reason that they took these kids in, these are foster parents. These aren't parents who are adopting newborn babies. There are about 34 couples who want to adopt a newborn baby for every newborn baby put up for adoption. Demand vastly outstrips supply. We're talking about the market, as we now do, I guess, for newborn babies. For foster parents, younger kids, teenagers who are in orphanages and state institutions who then go to live with supply vastly outstrips demand. Okay, so this couple says, we are Christian, and because of our Christian faith, we feel called to do what most people don't want to do. And that is taking these kids who need a home. We're going to do that. And the state of Massachusetts came in and said, okay, that's great, but you're not allowed to be Christian anymore. Good, yeah, you can do that, But if you do this thing that your faith has impelled you to do, you have to stop being Christian or we're going to take your kids away. Because it's not possible to be Christian and affirm the LGBT identity. You can't do it. I know there are all sorts of flavors of religion that identify as Christian. They call themselves Christian, but the church's teaching on this subject in particular is pretty clear going back about 2,000 years. You just can't have it. Can't do it. So they say, well, we're not going to renounce our faith for anything. But it's particularly crazy to renounce our faith in order to do the thing that our faith has impelled us to do. Massachusetts says, okay, too bad. And we'll go find some gay couple to give the kids to. Sorry, we're not going to allow the kids to be raised Christian. That's what the state of Massachusetts is saying. We will not allow foster children to be raised in a Christian household, which is obviously religious discrimination. And beyond religious discrimination, it's obviously wrong. There are all sorts of ideas they call themselves religion. Some true, some false. But in this case, it's so obviously wrong. You have to raise a kid in an LGBT LMNOP household or affirming household. Can't raise them in a Christian household. That's crazy. What this reveals, though, is the absurdity of the left's argument when they accuse us of trying to enforce our morality on others. Why do you care? Why do you care? That's what they always say. I actually really enjoyed going on the show. I was on Adam Friedland's show. He's this left-wing comedian. Very fun. We had a good, great conversation. You can catch it on his YouTube channel. But one of the moments where the interview got kind of spicy is when he was really hitting me on the trans stuff. And he said, well, what do you care? Why do you care? I don't care about this. I said, oh, great. If you don't care, then cut it out. The left was the aggressor on this issue. They're the ones who forced the guys in the girls' bathrooms. They're the ones who forced the rainbow flags all over the public square. And so we responded to that. But if you're saying you don't care, oh, great, wonderful. Oh, then I guess we're in agreement. You don't care, so give it up. Shut up about the LGBT stuff. Get the stupid rainbow flags out of the streets. Get the men out of the girls' bathroom. Great, you don't care. Because you don't care. We do care about morality. So good. Then I guess we're in agreement. They say, well, no, like when I say, why do we care? I mean, Christians need to shut up is basically what the left is saying. They don't really mean it. What do you care? It's funny. Adam actually cut out part of the interview where we were talking about the transgender ideology. I said, do you think it's true? They said, well, I just don't care. I said, I didn't ask if you care. I asked if you think it's true. And they cut that part out of the interview because obviously people care. You should care. And also, I think most people on the left know that it isn't true. They know that the transgender thing is fake. They know a lot of the LGBT stuff is fake, but the most charitable read I can give is they think it's nice. They think it's nice to lie to people. I think that's sincerely what most of them think. And so they say, stop making us answer questions of truth and falsehood. Can't you just be nice? Why do you care? It's like, well, you care a lot. And I think the truth is good and will set you free. And I think falsehood is bad. I think lying is bad. And I think it's disrespectful. And I think it leads you into misery. But one thing I think we should all be able to agree on is we all care. We all care. Go to armor.com/Knowles. We are living in a world that our bodies stress, productive for metabolism. That's kind of the way the left are kind of we all. But one.com/Knowles, KNOWLES. But one thing I think we should all be able to agree on is we all care. We all care. And there will be some kind of moral framework for the law. So it's either going to be ours or it's going to be yours. And it doesn't even have to feel that personal because, that's kind of the way the left views it is. It's just factions vying for dominance over the other. That's not how I think about morality. I think the only way that we can come to a peaceful resolution for the law is to think about the law as something objective that can be arrived at through reason. That is the premise of self-government. That is what our founding fathers thought and our framers thought. And so that's where this question about truth and falsehood comes from. Is it true? Let me just ask you, especially there are plenty of liberals and left-wingers who watch the show. Let me just ask you, do you really think, when we're talking about trans or whether we're talking about marriage, do you really think men and women are exactly the same, so similar that a union of two men is the exact same as the union of two women, is the exact same as the union of a man and a woman? Do you really think that? Do you really? Well, I just don't care. I just want people to do whatever they. That's not what I asked. It's not what I asked. What do you think?
Wait, what
it's
was
just
it?
us gals. It's just you and me. Do you really think? Do you really think men and women are exactly the same? So similar that a union of two men is the exact same as the union of two women? Is the exact same as the union of a man and a woman? Do you really think that? Do
I mean,
you
there's
really?
differences, sure.
Well, I just don't care. I just want people to do whatever they. That's not what I asked. It's not what I asked. What do you think? It's just us gals. It's just you and me. Come on, it's just you and me. What do you think? You know it's not. You know it's not. Well, it doesn't mean that I want to enforce it in the lunch. Shh. Hold on. You know it's not true. You know it's a lie. You think it's some kind of noble lie. You think it's some kind of comforting lie, but it's a lie nonetheless. Let's go further. Do you think it's good to enshrine lies into our laws? What do you think? I don't care. I don't. What do you think? No, probably not, right? Probably not. Well, what's the worst that could go wrong? Well, okay, here's one example. Christian parents who take in these orphans who no one else wants to take in, they're told they can't anymore because the state will discriminate against them and force them to stop being Christian if they want to keep their kids. That's like one example of how things go wrong when you enshrine lies into law. Women getting raped in bathrooms by men who are allowed to go in there. That's another
David,
thing that goes wrong when we enshrine lies.
Did you go to sleep and just wake up? If Trump ends both wars, it would be one of the greatest presidencies in American history in terms of a foreign policy.
Into laws. Girls losing their scholarships and their trophies when we allow men to compete against them in sports and we pretend they're all the same. That's another thing that goes wrong. A mass increase in anxiety, depression, and suicidality as we encourage the LGBT LMNOP identity with a special focus on the T. That's another thing that goes wrong. Suicide rates remaining practically the same before and after the transgender procedures that destroy people's bodies. That's another thing that, need I go on? Need I go on? Because we could be here all day. I think most people know the truth. I think most people know, even if they don't want to admit it, like my left-wing comedian friend on that show in the part that was cut out. I know most people don't want to admit it. I think most people know that a man can't really be a woman. And most people know that there's something a little bit odd about, a couple of fellas or a couple of chicks. And it's a little bit weird, right? It's not let's just say not exactly the same as a man and a woman. I think most people know that. The only question is, will you have the courage of your convictions to actually say the thing that you know to be true, and further, to behave that way in public and in politics and put that into the law? Put truth into the law instead of lies. Will you have the courage to do that? That's the question. Here's a little warning if your answer to that part is no. The other people will have the courage to put lies into the law. The other people will have the courage to try to force you to lie. The other people will have the courage, a dubious kind of courage, but a courage nonetheless, to force you to renounce your faith if you want to perform an act of charity. They will do it. So someone's going to do it. Is it going to be you on the side of the good stuff and the true stuff, or is it going to be the other side? But it's inevitable that there's going to be some moral framework in the law, because it's going to be inevitable that people care, because you're human beings and we're social creatures and we're inclined to live in society. So we care. That's how it works. That was a great clip. Now stop, ring the bell, subscribe. We'll see you next time.
There was something I asked you, but I just don't remember what it was. I watched this earlier. I think it was, did it have to do with this? Oh. Well, I don't think you heard what I said. I'm gonna repeat what I said earlier. I think you were asleep.
Italy, we have a young woman who's I'm not allowed to say it because usually it's the end of your political career if you say it. She's a beautiful young woman. Now, if you use the word beautiful in the United States about a woman, that's the end of your political career, but I'll take my chances. Where is she? There she is. You don't mind being called beautiful, right? Because you are. Thank you very much for coming. We appreciate it.
I was gonna say there's about to be an outrage. There's about to be an outrage because of that, because I'm pretty sure they're gonna be upset that he did not sniff her. Maybe give her a little shoulder rub. You know, there's definitely gonna be outrage. I want to watch this. I want to watch this segment. Bill Maher and what's his name? Pierce Morgan. It slipped my mind. I want to watch this, but I don't know if it's copyright or not. It probably is. It probably is copyright. We gotta watch this tomorrow. I want to watch this video tomorrow, but it's 27 minutes, so I'm not gonna watch it right now. What is this? Do I got anything over here? No, I don't.
I'm not gonna.
It's official.
Yeah, we don't got anything up here. Oh, wait, we got a Jimmy Kimmel. Mexico got humiliated 0-4 against Colombia friendly. Was that yesterday? Because I think my grandpa was watching it. I think it was yesterday, right? I walked into the living room when it was like 0-2, I think. If it was yesterday. Wait, my fault. This must be.
This is no different. This is no different than if they announced they rounded up a dozen Decepticons.
The machine also doesn't want you to think that Antifa even exists. You'd have to ask the people over at the Portland courthouse.
I've seen this, I think.
Down. But here is quote unquote comedian. What are we calling him now? Jimmy Kimmel on that.
You understand. There's no Antifa. This is an entirely imaginary organization. There is not an Antifa. This is no different than if they announced they rounded up a dozen Decepticons. We've captured the chupacabra, everyone. And then it was Trump's turn to ratchet up the rhetoric with fiery images conjured from no one has any idea where.
Look, I'll tell you a little something about Decepticons. Finally, something that I'm qualified to talk about. And his head fell off while we were doing this. I've got Soundwave right here. This is my original Soundwave, 1984. I remember getting him at Toys R Us. It was impossible to get Transformers then. They were so freaking hot. You could get GoBots, but nobody wanted the GoBot. And I remember it was about May. My birthday was in June, and I went with my mom and my brother, and I begged and begged, please let me just take it. You don't have to give it to me now. And they held it. They hid it in their closet, and I was able, on June 26, 1984, to get Soundwave, and this is still my original. His head has fallen off. He can't stand anymore. I mean, this is banged up Soundwave. He's got Ravage in there, who, of course, cassette that transforms into a panther. And yes, you may say it's ironic that a futuristic transforming robot transforms into a cassette player rendered obsolete by 1987, but still it was pretty cool at the time. And the point of all of that, Jimmy Kimmel, is that Soundwave here is a fictitious character who fought Optimus Prime and Bumblebee and Jazz. Antifa are crazy people who burn down Pep Boys and Best Buys. That is the fundamental difference.
Hmm. Griffin's face is literally falling off. Watch the face. Uh, Tonight, last chance for Guatemala to remain in the race for qualifying to the World Cup. They have to win in El Salvador. And it's the first time ever since Guatemala has been in the World Cup. What is that? Is this?
I haven't looked into it, Apple.
First time ever. Wow.
But people say you kept your OnlyFans site up.
Yeah, so Jordan can shed some light on this too. So what happened in the beginning was when I had told him originally I'm deleting my OnlyFans, I had full intent to delete my OnlyFans. I even showed him, we were right next to each other when I pushed the delete button back in like January. And what happened was I had so many subscribers, OnlyFans won't allow you to close your account until every single subscriber has unsubscribed. Like they physically have to push the button. But what they don't know is that people sometimes are very inactive on OnlyFans. So I am still waiting for the site to be completely shut down. However, you can't do anything. I can't even log in anymore. Everything's deleted off the site. There's no price to get in, nothing. So OnlyFans has disabled the site, but it's not down yet, if that makes sense.
Okay. I haven't looked into it, happily, but people say you.
Well, yeah, as long as they can make money. What is this? Oh, it's 2 minutes. Fuck it. With the expansion in 2026 from 32 to 48 teams, a lot of nations will participate for the first time in their history. Wow.
What happens when a gay man confronts a gay for Palestine protester and actually makes her question her entire existence? Let's watch that video.
And so I did a study abroad in the Middle East with Israel and Palestine.
Would you say you're pro-Palestine or pro-Israel?
Pro-Palestine.
As a gay man, I would be punished and or put in prison or killed if I were openly gay in Palestine. How do you react to that?
I didn't know that. So
it is illegal to be gay in Palestine. You are punished by prison or death.
Israel?
No, Israel has gay pride. Israel is completely open to lesbian and gay people. So Palestine puts them in prison or kills them. You weren't aware of that?
I was not aware of that, no. So that does pose an interesting aspect.
Have you seen the Queers for Palestine movement? It's a very common movement, but I don't see any Muslims for Queer movements.
Yes. That's where it gets gray, right? Like, that's where
Well, for me, it's not gray.
It's not very gray at all.
I am fearful of Islam because there is no Islamic country on earth that embraces me as a gay man.
So, okay, so maybe I'm confused because Israel which is still an Islam country, right?
No, Jewish.
Okay.
So Israel's Jewish.
Just by calling it an Islam country, you can tell how little she knows of the topic.
Palestinians are Islamic.
Okay.
What?
Wow. She questioned her entire life right here. People don't know, but you can't be openly gay in Gaza. The moment you are openly gay in Gaza, you might get killed. They oppose being gay in Palestine. They oppose being openly trans. They oppose being openly gay. In Israel, you do have gay pride. It's interesting to see how these gay people react when they are faced with the truth. And it seemed like it did change her mind, or at least made her think a little bit more about it. But great video. Short, but to the point. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you again in the next video. Bye.
This was 5 months ago. That's crazy. That's insane. I need to be not aware. What video? What video? What's this? Oh, I don't even think I want to watch this. I saw this on another YouTube video.
Things continue to get worse for Hassan.
I seen that they're gonna fucking fire their staff or some shit. I'm not too interested in that. I'm not gonna lie. Fuck it.
You can just admit you made a false claim on it.
Let's see Michael Knowles go crazy.
We can just move on, but you can't. You're done.
I kind of want to watch this. I'll save it probably for tomorrow. And this one looked kind of interesting. But I'll save this one for tomorrow as well. This is going to have to be on a day where I stream all day on YouTube. Both of these. I'm going to save these for a day that I stream all day on YouTube. Which one are we doing? This one.
Doubling down on a easily disproven
When
claim.
even Michael Knowles, I started off with a very bold.
For example, 2 nations already qualified that will participate for the first time. Are Jordan, Uzbekistan.
Promise that we would try and make sense.
Just move on, but you can't. You're doubling down on a easily disproven
When
claim.
even Michael Knowles, I started off with a very bold promise that we would try and make sense of what I've just said. There's a lot going on here, a lot to unpack. Let me just start with one thing. I watched Pam Bondi yesterday, and there are some sort of fundamental principles at play here in various things this administration is doing. One of which is about the ability of the federal government to deploy federal troops into states that are not Washington, D.C. Do you feel comfortable about them doing it? And let me just say straight off the top, I'm not sure how I feel about this, because to me, I get the overarching, I think, plan, which is visibility on the streets to deter criminals. But let's take a look at the clip, and then I'll come back to you.
The word is, and I think it's been confirmed by the White House, they are going to transfer Texas National Guard units to the state of Illinois. What's the rationale for that?
Yeah, Chairman, as you shut down the government, you voted to shut down the government, and you're sitting here, our law enforcement officers aren't being paid. They're out there working to protect you. I wish you loved Chicago as much as you hate President Trump. And currently, the National Guard...
Is there any way Trump can bypass sanctuary states? I know he's already deployed like National Guard in like California and shit, but they're still keeping him from deporting as much as he possibly can. Like, I think Trump is only at like 2 million deportations so far, some shit like that, right? Something close to that. I want like record breaking, like I want like 20 million by the end of his presidency. No, I want more than 20 million by the end of his presidency, if possible.
and you're
For the Texas National Guard units to the state of Illinois. What's the rationale for that?
Yeah, Chairman, as you shut down the government, you voted to shut down the government, and you're sitting here, our law enforcement officers aren't being paid. They're out there working to protect you. I wish you loved Chicago as much as you hate President Trump. And currently, the National Guard are on the way to Chicago. If you're not going to protect your citizens, President Trump will.
So, again, the question, Michael, do you feel comfortable this is constitutional?
Not only do I feel comfortable, I'm happy to see that the federal government is stepping in where the local and state governments have failed. This is one of the main things that the federal government is for. The Insurrection Act has been invoked many times throughout American history by both parties. Eisenhower, Kennedy, it's been called in by, it's been requested rather by Democrat governors. And so that's really unsurprising. And what we're looking at here is issue compounding on issue, because we've had this massive invasion of foreign nationals, many of whom are working with foreign terrorist organizations, the criminal cartels that control the southern border. We have crime spiraling out of control generally in places like Chicago, which in terms of the number of murders leads the country, something like 110,000 gang members in Chicago alone. And you're seeing an uptick in political violence, particularly from the left, reflected in multiple surveys and then obviously in the horrific incidents that we've seen recently. Most recently, the leftist who was going to bomb the cathedral in Washington, D.C., but of course, going back to Charlie's assassination and others. So you're having a lot of disorder. This is why we have the Insurrection Act. It's why we have the federal government, because I think people are debating between these two false options. Either we can all sit together and sing Kumbaya and nobody can enforce the law, or we're going to have violence. But that's not really the case. The two options you have are you can have just, prudent state violence, that is to say, cops enforcing the law and putting the bad guys in jail, or you can have what you're seeing increasingly celebrated by the left, which is vigilante violence, which is unjust. And I want the just kind. I want an orderly society, and I don't think we should just consign people who happen to live in failed blue cities to misery and rape and murder and all the rest of it.
Okay, Sri Tanada, your response to that?
Well, look, militarization of our cities is not the answer. Just yesterday, a mother who's in America for 30 years, she was going to a grocery store to buy some ingredients so she can make meatball soup for her kids. And ISIS detained her. She's now behind in the ICE detention center. I saw her daughter crying. These are not gang members. These are not hardened criminals. They're arresting 17-year-old high school kids, putting away American citizens, 4-, 5-year-old American citizens, kids who are suffering from leukemia in the ICE detention center, losing their doctor's appointments. You can talk all about gang members. You know, nobody. Everybody wants.
No, I wouldn't talk about that. Look, just to stop you there, but you know, I want to talk specifically about the deployment of federal troops, not necessarily the wider separate issue of what ICE is doing with undocumented people in the United States. I've debated that a lot. We can touch on that in a moment, but just specifically on the deployment of federal troops in states which are not DC, where obviously the federal government can do that. The president has that power. You know, there is this raging argument now about whether it is constitutional, whether it is lawful for the president of the United States to do what Trump is now rolling out in places like Chicago. What is your view of that?
It's not only not legal, it's not only unconstitutional, but more importantly, it's not even good business, because this costs so much putting federal troops in cities. Instead of that, if federal government can give the grants so that local police, law enforcement can hire more people. Right now, they are severely understaffed. They don't have the resources they need to keep our cities safe. Now, in a long-term process...
But aren't you answering your question? I mean, aren't you
I think you're
making
the point.
Right. I mean, in a way, what you just said is the rationale for doing it, isn't it? I mean, they're under-resourced. They don't have enough people. They can't control the crime. Donald Trump is recognizing this, and he's doing something about it. And I'm curious about how many regular Americans who live in some of these very crime-ridden inner cities in America are really as opposed to it as you sound like you are. Because, you know, if you've got a lot of crime going on around you and you know the police are woefully under-resourced, why would you object to seeing some troops on the streets to just try and restore order and perhaps send a real message to criminals?
See, putting military and reserves all over America, major American cities, and militarization of our country is not the solution. The solution is empower the local law enforcement, give them the funds that they need. It's the funding that needs to come so we can have a more long-term, long-lasting solution to it.
Congressman, are you familiar with the Insurrection Act? Hold on one second. Go to cowguys.shop. For code need for the price.
Yes, I am.
Congressman, are you familiar with the Insurrection Act?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. And this
so
is
what do you
not the
think
time-
that's for? You said that this was illegal. You said it was not unconstitutional and illegal for the federal government to send National Guard into cities and states. What do you think the Insurrection Act is for?
Well, look, this is a issue that the local government should be handling. It is this
No,
is
it's
an
the,
issue.
it's
what
a
is it-
federal
what is
law,
the answer to
Congressman.
my-
I don't think you understand the Insurrection
Right,
Act.
so to
The
Michael's,
Insurrection Act.
well, let me just ask, I mean, Congressman, do you actually know what the Insurrection Act says?
Yes, you know, but this is in
Well,
this situation.
hang on. What does it say?
Well, look what we saw happen in January 6th in the Congress. That's insurrection.
No, that's not the question. The question is, are you familiar? I mean, obviously, the government is citing the Insurrection Act as the empowerment to do what it's doing. Are you familiar with what the Insurrection Act
Yes, I am. But
allows?
look, this president has used all kinds of excuses to break the law. This president has used...
No, but that is the law. So what is the law, Congressman? You say you're familiar with the Insurrection Act, but you don't seem to be able to describe...
It's hard for Trump to bypass sanctuary states because the 10th Amendment of the Constitution that says that the power is not delegated to the federal government must be in control of the states. Are all Democratic cities sanctuary are all like the main places where illegal immigrants are sanctuary states? Like the only ones I can really think of are California, Illinois, and New York. Is there any more sanctuary states other than those, or is there more, or are those the only three? Sorry.
Is the law. So what is the law, Congressman? You say you're familiar with the Insurrection Act, but you don't seem to be able to describe what it does, and you're actually contradicting it. So what do you think the Insurrection Act does?
Wow. I'm actually taking back what I said about Trump making it so taking away born citizenship if that's the case. I actually am going to take back what I said. I think if he can't get bypassed, I'll only agree with him taking away born citizenship if the number of illegal immigrants he's deported isn't at 20 million by the end of his term. Like I want at least 25 million deported. If it's less than 10 million that he's deported by the end of the term, I'll say keep born citizenship away from the United States. I actually might take that back. Wow.
Look, all kinds of excuses to break the law. This president has
No,
used...
but that is the law. So what is the law, Congressman? You say you're familiar with the Insurrection Act, but you don't seem to be able to describe what it does, and you're actually contradicting it. So what do you think the Insurrection Act does?
Look, the issue here is that we need our cities safe. Americans want...
Well, Congressman, with all due respect, that's not an answer to the question. I mean, if you don't look,
can you lay out what you believe allows Donald Trump to act
well,
so
hang on,
unlawfully?
Jack. I'm going to come to you very shortly, but just to be clear, Congressman, it's a pretty simple question that Michael posed, which is the government are citing the Insurrection Act as the rationale and the legal tool by which they can do what they're doing. You said it's illegal and wrong, and they shouldn't be doing it. But you seem to be struggling to explain what the Insurrection Act actually is. And Michael, quite rightly, is saying, well, can you just tell us?
Well, whatever it is, when the National Guards are picking up trash and the National Guards are watering the flowers, that is not Insurrection Act. And that's not what this is
But
meant to
do
be.
you know what it is? The act.
Yeah.
What is it?
When there is an insurrection, the government has powers to use military, use reserve to address those situations. And this is clearly not the situation here. What we need to do is empower local law enforcement.
Okay, Michael, your response to that?
I think the congressman might be a little bit confused because he said that the federal government is breaking the law by sending the National Guard in to restore order to the cities where crime has spiraled out of control, where there's obviously a violation of federal law with all of the illegal aliens running about. And that is actually what it's for. We have a federal government in order to step in when the local and state governments fail. And so this has been used many, many times, not merely to restore order if there's some violent revolution, but even, for instance, to desegregate schools. This has been used many, many times over the course of American history. There's nothing illegal about it. And in fact, what President Trump is doing right now is one of the clearest and most just uses of the Insurrection Act when you have cities that are failing, that in your own words, cannot enforce the law, are under-resourced, and are falling into disorder. So I think you've made a good argument for what President Trump is doing.
Okay.
Look what he's doing.
Well, let me bring in Jack. I want to bring in Jack. He's been waiting patiently. I mean, Jack, it seemed to me the congressman actually, maybe inadvertently, gave the explanation for why Trump feels justified in using the Insurrection Act. Because if you agree that the law enforcement in these very crime-ridden cities is failing and under-resourced, then why shouldn't the government use the Insurrection Act to put troops on the ground and try and restore proper order?
Well, because I don't think the intention is to restore proper order. Donald Trump and his entire administration has made it clear that they'd be happy to see unrest come out of sending in the National Guard. That's what they wanted out of their attack on LA. That's what they wanted to happen in DC. Donald Trump sees this as an opportunity
any evidence for that?
to intimidate people. It's come out directly of the administration that they think it is a win if they go into Portland and nothing happens, but nothing is happening. It's people in T-Rex Halloween costumes who are getting maced for simply exercising their First Amendment right, which, Michael, I thought you cared about. It doesn't really seem like that's the case. But they've also said that if there is
where are you getting that from? Hold on, before you make you made an argument.
I think if you would allow me to finish my point,
the Trump administration
I
wants
did just say that
disorder
you don't
and has
really
admitted
like
this. What's
you
your
don't like
evidence
to
for
hear
that?
people speak out, and now I'm delivering a point that you don't seem to like, and you want to silence me. That's what this administration does. It's
No,
okay. You
I'm
don't
just
have the
asking
power to
for
do
your
that
evidence.
today.
Now, Jack,
You don't
to
have
be
the power
clear,
to-
you made a statement that the Trump administration actively wanted disorder. And Michael, I think, understandably, because I would ask the same thing. Where is the evidence Where is the evidence that they wanted disorder?
It has been reported that this administration sees it as a win if unrest comes out of the deployment. It came out of Axios, that they see it as a win if there is unrest because of these deployments. Because they want to say, look at this hellscape in Portland, when all of the photos that I've seen are just like people in T-Rex costumes hanging out and going to the farmer's market. And if you really want to deploy the National Guard.
There are 17 states plus DC. What? With some kind of sanctuary laws: California, Oregon, Connecticut, Colorado, New Mexico, Hawaii, Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Nevada, New Jersey. Oh, damn. I regret what I said. I hope now at this point I might actually hope the Democrats, if they ever win office again, I hope they forget about born citizenship. I really do. I hope they forget about it at that point. I don't want born citizenship to ever come back unless we get most of those illegal immigrants out of here. Wow. Wow.
Costumes, hanging out and going to the farmer's market. And if you really want to deploy the National Guard, Mike Johnson's district could certainly use it. These failing red states. If you want to talk about states that are failing, red states are failing. They need to be subsidized by California and New York, Massachusetts. These states, these Republican states that are being run into the ground. If you're talking about people who need aid and assistance.
Oh, the bad shit is. Damn. If an illegal bitch lays with a man from the U.S., that kid is still granted citizenship, I think. Unless Trump made it so both parents have to be citizens, which I'll fucking highly agree with. Ooh. Like that.
Instance, they're suckling off of California. It has nothing to do with the crime-ridden, failing blue states. It's a non-issue. And this politics
You think
of
there's no crime in
subtraction.
Chicago?
One second, Michael.
You think Chicago's doing all right?
This politics of subtraction, where you think if you just take away and take away and take away and will eventually hit a bottom, it just doesn't actually exist as a real theory. If you thought that law enforcement was the answer to this problem, Donald Trump wouldn't be cutting the budget of police across the country to the tune of billions of dollars. Like, that wouldn't be happening. So you don't
Trump
really have
dramatically
a
increased the law enforcement budget.
First of all, that's not true, which just took place in his budget.
He did. That was the big beautiful bill. That was one of the key provisions of the big beautiful bill.
That is absolutely untrue. So you don't even have this like cogent theory of policing or law enforcement that you want to see carried out.
Your argument is that the
It's
big
all
beautiful
about
bill
intimidation.
did not increase law enforcement funding at the federal level.
Donald Trump has cut again and again.
Congressman, could you please clarify for our confused liberal friend here? Right now, go to expressvpn.com/Michael Knowles Shilling History. Well, protecting your that you activity for years because you can't stop ExpressVPN laptop users. Find out how you can get up to 4 months for free by scanning the QR code on screen, clicking the link in the description box below, or going to expressvpn.com/Michael Knowles Show.
Now we need to have a long-term solution to this, and that is only by reinforcing our local law enforcement. That's what we need to do.
Congressman, did the big beautiful bill increase federal law enforcement funding?
Again, the point, Congressman, is whether in the big beautiful bill there was an increase or a decrease in federal spending for law enforcement. Which one was it?
Well, there was an increase, but look.
Okay, so then again, I come back to Jack. So Jack, your fellow left winger on the panel has just contradicted you and said, "Well, hang on, Congressman, hang on."
Yeah.
Jack, you've just heard there from a Democratic congressman that the big beautiful bill actually increased federal spending on law enforcement, the opposite of what you just said.
I think he's misspeaking. Donald Trump has done nothing to increase police
Japan
budgets.
qualifies for
Donald
World
Trump
Cup very
doesn't really
easily.
care.
I don't think
He's
he's
in
misspeaking.
Congress. He voted.
I think one person's misspeaking here, and it may be you.
It's not. There's nothing that Donald Trump has done to actually, one second, there's nothing that Donald Trump, the supposed back the blue guy, has done to support police in this country. He doesn't actually care. It's a gimmick. It's a game. Michael, I know you're familiar with that. It's fine. But Donald Trump doesn't care. If he did, he wouldn't have pardoned 1,500 cop-beating insurrectionists to go out and reoffend and reoffend. If you want to talk about crime in this country and who's being let loose on the streets, I think Donald Trump is allowing that to happen more than any other single person in this country. So I don't really know how you could make the case that this administration cares about policing, cares about crime, cares about law enforcement, when every action that they have publicly taken and celebrated is to the opposite of that argument, Michael.
Yeah, I guess there are a few things that Democrat congressmen and I agree on, but what Congress just did in President Trump's big beautiful bill would happen to be one of them, and it's that he's increased federal law enforcement funding. So I don't know where your confusion comes from, but it's manifest.
Well, I don't know how you're confused about Donald Trump's attacks on police officers across the country and his disregard for those who were attacked on January 6th.
Jack, look, to be clear, he either increased federal spending in that bill on law enforcement or he didn't. And it does appear from Michael and from the Democratic congressman that you're just wrong. So do you want to take an opportunity to maybe walk that back?
I do not,
chunk
no.
of that was ice.
Well, you've got to double down on a falsehood.
I'd say I think that I'm willing to double down on the fact that Donald Trump has made it difficult for police officers across this country to do their jobs and he doesn't actually care about them.
Right, and would you be prepared to state your entire
That sounds like an opinion.
professional reputation on?
I read that before he went back to president, more was offered to Napoli.
Actually care about them.
Right, and would you be prepared to state your entire professional reputation on the fact that he slashed federal spending on law enforcement in the budget? in his
Would
big
I be
bill.
willing to stake my entire reputation on the fact that Donald Trump has made it more difficult for law enforcement to do their
But
job?
you made a
That
very
wasn't the
sweeping
question.
statement. This is the problem, you see. It's too easy to say Donald Trump has slashed federal spending on law enforcement. But if it turns out, as is the case, that it was the opposite and he's increased spending in his big, beautiful bill on federal spending on law enforcement, you should just have the good grace to go, I was wrong.
Well, I think if Michael is saying that there is not enough police spending and we
That
need to
wasn't-
send in,
he just
we
said
need to send
Trump
in and
increased the
militarize these
federal spend.
cities. But I think the point is clear here, and it's one that we need to argue, which is whether or not Donald Trump has done anything to actually aid law enforcement, or if he's done
Well, if
anything
he increased
to tackle
spending,
crime.
you would say that that is a good thing for the law enforcement, right?
I would say that Donald Trump's plans aren't coherent and don't make some cogent argument. Michael certainly doesn't make some cogent argument of how Donald Trump, who has let crime run free with his policies and within his administration, actually cares about responding to crime, when those who have had the most success aren't the governors of red states, but are the mayors of blue cities that Michael wants to claim are crime infested and being run into the ground. We have seen in DC, we have seen in Chicago, we have seen in Baltimore, drops of historic lows in crime, like lower than we've seen in decades now. And I don't know why you won't acknowledge that, or maybe learn from some of those Democratic mayors.
Bro, you can just admit you made a false claim on air. It's okay. People make false claims. We could just move on. But you can't, you're doubling down on a easily disproven
When
claim
even the
that you made.
Democratic congressman says you're wrong.
Maybe that's what you've
You're
made your
wrong.
living.
When even the Democratic congressman says you're wrong.
Maybe that's what you've
You're
made your
wrong.
living to, doubling down on false.
Congressman says you're wrong.
Maybe that's what you've
You're
made your
wrong.
living to, doubling down
Let
on
me
false
speak for
claims.
myself. Let me speak for myself. What Donald Trump has done is this is all political. He's picked cities that are Democratic leaning. You know, these are many of the cities. Chicago, the crime is actually declining.
Who the fuck is this? This is a congressman in the United States, and he sounds like he can barely speak English. What the fuck is going on?
If you look at the numbers, in Detroit, for example,
The crime in
declining.
Chicago is horrific. I had a son there at the university for a year. It is a dangerous city full of serious crime and a lot of murder. Chicago is horrific. I had a son there at the university for a year. It is a dangerous city full of serious crime and a lot of murder.
That was a great clip. Now stop, ring the bell, subscribe. We'll see you next time.
What the fuck? I heard the twins talking about Trump making it so you can't be in office with dual citizenship, and at this point I really hope it goes through. I really hope it goes through. Now I also hope that born citizenship does not come back. What the fuck? What the fuck? This is the last one. I'm gonna go to bed. Our prime minister speaks better English.
So I'm sure many of you are aware of the ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas, of Israel withdrawing all its forces, all living hostages by Hamas being released, all Palestinian prisoners released, humanitarian aid for Gaza, and a task force of the US, Qatar, Egypt, Turkey, and more to monitor implementation. Say what you will about your position on either being pro-Israel or not, but this peace deal wouldn't have been able to happen without Donald Trump. Now, for the love of God, can we please stop sending money to these countries and spend all the money on deporting these illegal aliens in our country and ramp up police and military presence in inner cities and arrest these repeat offenders? But anyways, here we have Bill Maher giving Trump credit on his success, just like Bill Clinton did. Now, I want to hear more credit given by other Democrats.
I always say this, you cannot ever deny success. You just have to give your respect, even if it's not your thing. Don't have the humility to give it up for enormous success on any level.
I agree.
Trump, not my choice, didn't vote for him, but somehow,
a lot of people did.
And he's, I can't deny the success.
I can't either.
Yeah.
And he's the president.
And he's the president.
So now that we have this deal, I'm sure nothing could possibly go wrong anymore. But for real, I'm glad for the success, but can we turn our attention to more domestic issues? I want Trump to direct Congress to start impeaching judges that release repeat offenders so we can avoid Irina Zarutska-like situations, which frankly deserve way more headlines than Israel. But Bill Maher is not only giving Trump credit for his success, but with the way he roasts. Bill Maher had Trump sign a piece of paper of all the roasts Trump has tweeted out to Bill Maher.
But I see is what did he sign there?
This is when I went to the White House. These are all the horrible things he's called me over the years.
Did you give him that and he signed it for you?
Correct.
Oh, that's fucking brilliant.
I know. It's my
Hey,
prized possession.
you
What a
deserved all of them.
signature. That's
I
one of
mean,
the best signatures of
Stupid, angry,
anybody.
dopey possession.
You deserved all of it, Bill. You deserved all of it.
What a signature. That's
I
one of
mean,
the best signatures of
Stupid, angry,
anybody.
dopey, dummy, trouble. What's that one? Terrible student, not considered smart, no mojo.
Terrible
nervous.
student. How did he know that?
He doesn't know any of this. This is what's so
Bedwetter.
amazing that he, off the top of his head, could come up with 56 different.
That's. I'm
Lowlife's
impressed.
dummy. So-called comedian, not a smart guy. Better than Sominex, fired like a dog. Dumbass, not an intellectual.
Better than
terrible
Sominex.
show. Moron, stupid guy, bad ratings.
Okay, now you're just gloating. Now you're
It's
That's hip.
It's hip, and it's also just like says something about the human mind or some human minds. Like I couldn't come up with this many names.
Oh, yes,
if
you
you gave me a day, I mean, if I had a day,
Yeah.
if I had a day,
And a thesaurus.
and a thesaurus, exactly.
My president. All right. I'm out. Good streams today. I'll do the same tomorrow, I think. We'll see. I don't think I'll stream that late again tomorrow. I think I'm just gonna do Dodgers and then be on YouTube later after. All right. I'll see you. Have a good one. Stay safe. And I hope that flu blows over. Later.